Today is Wednesday, which means it is time for the Wednesday Club. And
Yeah.
today, it's
The
Daily
Wednesday.
It's the most coordination I've ever
That was so terrible. Here we are. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Every day is Wednesday when you're in the Wednesday Club.
I like our song. It's really good. Look at that graphic.
Wednesday.
That graphic is amazing.
It's a pretty good graphic.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb, right?
That was amazing.
Someone?
I think that was Caleb.
And speaking of Caleb, can win.
Speaking of Caleb, win.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Caleb, for making that amazing graphic.
Yes.
And thank you, Ken Win, for this beautiful illustration. What is today's theme?
Well, it looks like today's theme is Batman sending mail.
Batman's Christmas cards, I
He's a
suppose,
big
or thank you
fan.
cards.
Yeah,
Of
this is Bruce Wayne's Christmas letter. He's like,
People
I lost Robin this year. It's been tough.
Please see my last 3 Christmas letters.
Parents still dead.
Parents are
Still dead.
So today is our episode devoted to the Daily Wednesday, which is the name we have now given to our letter column, because
Yay.
it can't be a comic book without a letter column.
Yep.
Although I'm about to contradict myself because plenty of comics don't have them. But they are one of my favorite things in comics. What is a letters column? This is normally where you guys are leading and I make you answer them. So.
Well, a letters column is a place where fans of the comic book, of a particular publication, can write in and express any of their praise, approval, questions, circumstances, whatever they would like, to the editorial. And sometimes the editorial will either publish and respond to these letters.
That was perfect.
And occasionally it's really fascinating that people, when they are young, write in and eventually actually end up working on some of these books or become people of note, which becomes a weird little circle of life and time, and everything comes together.
Amazing little brain spotting for comics. So this tradition grew out of the fact that, you don't always like write into your favorite novelist, your favorite serialized Victorian magazine person, but in the early 20th century, science fiction magazines and fiction anthologies quickly developed a community of letter writers who would write into their favorite sort of Hugo Gernsback, whatever his name is, edited sci-fi publications, and they got to know each other. And that was part of the birth of what we now know of, at least in America, as sort of our version of fandom, came out of these communities of enthusiasts who found each other by writing into these books. So before there was an internet, before the conventions were big or existed much at all, people started finding each other in this way. And it's this great tradition that broadly took hold in comics in the late 50s, early 60s. I think there are earlier examples. A lot of romance comics would have sort of write-in like advice column sections. Comics like Katie Keene would have fashion submissions where they would print your designs for things. There's a lot of like, here's Betty and Veronica in this outfit. Or you would send them in and they would use them in the comic and then they would credit them in the letters page. Like, thanks for designing that hat for Betty.
Are you telling me I can design clothes for Betty and Veronica and they might get published in an issue of Betty and Veronica? This is something I can do? What am I even doing here? Why am I not at home right now on my iPad furiously sketching? Okay, never mind. This is too much. This is just too much.
So and if somebody tracked this down more specifically, let me know. But I know by the time we roll around to the Silver Age, the late 50s, early 60s period of creative flourishing at Marvel and DC, the letter columns have become standard. And so you start to get people writing in with their praise and their criticism for whatever's been going on.
Oh, look at that.
And this is where I started rating my at home. I believe I got this out of a bargain bin. It is falling apart, so do not
literally
leak as
leaking.
you watch this.
Love it.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, this is X-Men 25 featuring the menace of El Tigre.
Yeah,
This is that period where they're eventually getting canceled.
Yeah, you can feel the cancellation on that book. Oh.
Yeah, the back cover's a little detached.
Yeah, things are happening there.
But
Yeah,
Was that one of your very first comics ever?
no, I got this at a convention, but I couldn't resist it because when I buy trash copies.
Yeah,
because
I feel you.
I'm like, but I can own X-Men 25, so what if the cover needs its own bag? So you have things like, let's visit the X-Men, which is the title of this letters column.
And the
working
MMS
on
still wants you.
Yes, and on top, the MMMS still wants you. That is the Merry Marvel Marching Society.
There was a song and everything.
It's amazing.
It
was the official fan club.
I wish that I'd been alive in the 60s just for that.
Yeah. make out check or money order for $1 to MMMS Marvel Comics Group, Madison Avenue, New York. Here's the full thing.
I've actually gone onto eBay a few times to see if I can find
Like the
some
button and the
buttons
card and the
stuff like that.
they gotta
They're
be there.
The last time I looked, they were a little pricier than I was like. Oh,
Yeah.
Don't know if I can.
You know, maybe one day we'll make our own.
So this was in 1966,
we should.
which is why we're a few years into that revolution. Things are pretty well along. Although I did not look up whether the Carlos Pacheco who writes into this would grow up to draw the comic 3 decades later. I don't think the timing works. I think it's got to be a different Carlos Pacheco, but it'd be cool
But
as heck
That's still
if it was
cool.
the same one. And so, for instance, Carlos Pacheco, I think it is safe to say this because he probably doesn't still live there because this was 1966, but Carlos Pacheco has provided his full street address. This was actually pretty standard in the 60s.
My God.
What an innocent time.
Because like the science fiction things, you couldn't become pen pals with someone unless you knew where to write them.
Oh,
So he lives on
whoa.
Webster Avenue in the Bronx, New York. And what's so great about that is that when they publish these and they publish their addresses, some of the first conventions, one of the first or second New York convention, the guy who organized and put it on got people's addresses out of the letter columns of the books he read and just wrote them saying he was, like, if they lived in New York, he wrote to them saying, I'm putting on a convention, you should come.
What was that address?
Wow.
Is-
Are you doing this?
Do we have
Okay.
doxing concerns from 1966? Normally I'm very cautious, but it was a long time ago.
That was 50 years ago. We can.
See what's at this number.
Okay, hold on.
Oh.
Especially since I picked the person who shares a name with an actual comics creator, we're just going to elide that actual address, even though it was 1966 and almost certainly not him.
It has been sitting on your shelf.
Oh, look, it autofilled. Yeah, it's still there.
Like a building is still there?
A building of some sort is still there.
The
There's
Bronx
a lot of construction
still
in front of it.
exists. You heard it
Oh,
here
it's an
first.
apartment building.
Nice.
I mean, it is now. I don't know if it was
So
then.
Carlos thinks X-Men 22 was one of the best X-Men you ever put out. The thing I liked about this we're already using abbreviations,
Oh, wow.
was the way you split up the X-Men, something I almost never see in a mag. I liked the scene on page 8, panel 7, when the Beast made the mistake. Whose idea was that? I liked the part of the eel better than the unicorn. How about the Mimic, Juggernaut, and Magneto fighting the X-Men in one issue? Let's see Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Hawkeye fighting a common foe. Let's have Marvel Girl marry Cyclops really soon.
You're going to be waiting
Really?
on that
Yeah,
one
About
for a
20
while.
years.
For a while.
Yeah, I would also like to suggest that the Beast and Iceman join forces with the Thing and the Torch. I want to see still better mags in the future. Enough said. Carlos Pacheco, Bronx, New York.
You want to see the building that exists at that address now?
That's amazing.
Yeah, look.
That's so cool.
feel
Man,
weird.
if
I
you
feel weird
are
about all of
Carlos
this happening right
Pacheco's
now.
grandchildren and you live in a building in the Bronx that we have not described on
My
air.
guess is that building is recent.
Yeah, that didn't feel like a 60s.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not a 60s building.
So this column had writers from Cheney, Kansas, from somebody writing Bud Trippett, care of Colonel William Trippett, so I think that's an Army brat, or possibly Air Force, because there's a complex military address in Wiesbaden, Germany. John Schuch in Riverside, California. Someone from Redwood City, California. Sturtevant, Wisconsin. Oh, writing from St. Bonaventure High School.
Ooh.
And Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, it's the best. So this is the origin. This is letters columns. They flourish for several decades, and they don't go away really until the advent of the internet age. But what I find so interesting is that while both companies sort of start to phase them out circa 2000 unevenly, some books maintained them, some books stopped them altogether, they have had a resurgence in the last, I'm going to say, 5 years?
Sure.
I don't know if anybody got the exact numbers on this.
Yeah.
They're not quite back at DC yet, but at Marvel, certain books have picked them back up, and they are all over the indies. And I think my basic guess would be that the internet felt as if it was replacing the need for letters pages, because there were so many ways to reach
Yeah.
creators and so many ways to share your feedback. But ultimately, the internet became way overwhelming and too distracted, so there wasn't one central place for that community to form. So they've essentially reformed better than they were before, And now we
they
have
sort of like snapped back to where they like expanded. They're like, oh my God, we can talk about all these things, all these people, all at once, and it's immediate. And I kind of just actually want to just talk to the Squirrel Girl creators. I just
Once a month.
So what's like a really good example of a modern letters column and something you could do with it, Matt?
Oh golly, great segue. I think we've talked about it on our show before.
Yes.
But my lovely wife Brittany has actually written in to
And drink.
Yeah, and take a drink. Thank God we don't have that strange jar yet, because I'm sure lovely wife Brittany will be another $1.
And take a drink.
No, that wasn't a reference. That was a strange jar.
No, I was telling everyone at home to take another drink because you referenced your lovely wife Brittany twice.
Oh, twice. Okay.
It's 2 drinks.
Okay, I thought you were saying because I referenced that at the. I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a
Excelsior.
pyramid scheme and we're winning.
Weird,
That's what we're
the
saying.
weird
Keep
physician.
going.
Yes, carry on.
That very odd physician. Yes. So my lovely
Odd
wife.
Physician? Odd Physician Adventures.
Yeah, it's the DC. It's
The Matt Key non-copyrighted story.
Physician odd. It's like a colon in the middle. It's just like this weird 70s.
That's
PI
phrasing
drama.
odd.
Yeah. My lovely wife Brittany wrote into Squirrel Girl to surprise our good friend Jack Conway. He's a giant fan of Squirrel Girl and a giant fan of Dr. Doom.
No,
and
you're a
for-
giant fan of Squirrel Girl. I'm sorry.
He's also pretty big, so it's a big dude.
Conway, to be
Conway.
fair, is about 6'1", so
Yeah,
he's
he's a big guy.
Okay,
a
pretend I
relatively
made that
giant.
joke about him. Then.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I think he's. I don't know. So she wrote in as a surprise to him, a picture of her as Squirrel Girl and him as Dr. Doom, covered in plush squirrels.
There we
It was
are.
at her birthday party, like about 3 years ago, and she surprised him.
From
with
Brittany.
that,
From Brittany.
No address provided because it is the 21st century.
Yep.
And things are different.
yeah. And so she surprised him with that, and he was like, "What?" Like, and she didn't tell him. He went and got the issue. He's reading it, and gets to the back page and is like, "No," and like calls her me. And he's like, "What have you done?" Yeah, she's a good friend.
So Squirrel Girl is one of the books, Marvel, whose letters columns I love to death. The late lamented run on Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat, was
Bless
another
it.
one I loved because somehow over the course of their book, the tradition quickly became send us your pictures of cats. Send us
my
all
God.
your cats.
Oh my God.
The letters column is called Hello Kitties.
Good title. Naming a letter column is a big deal. Also, that's become like a really. I'm sure you
And
have
this,
a whole
in fact, this is a cat posing with the first appearance of Patsy Walker in a CGC frame, that Miss America
Wow.
magazine you see beside her.
What Patsy Walker's origin story and sort of retcon is one of my
Amazing.
favorites.
so amazing.
No journey in comics is like more
No.
interesting than
Yeah,
Patsy Walker.
So for those of you who don't know, and correct me if I'm
It is-
getting
it
this
is such a
correctly,
piece of
'cause
dimension hopping.
I do love it so much. In the 50s, before Stan Lee invented the Marvel Silver Age
Or the internet. Yeah.
or the internet,
With a lot
because-
of help,
with,
side note.
with a lot of help, with a
Which-
lot of help, very
which
fair,
I know you know,
very
but we
fair.
like to make sure we add.
They were doing romance. They were following whatever trend they could. So romance comics, westerns, monsters, all that stuff. And one of their romance was the Miss America one. But then they went on to do what was it? Patsy Walker romance? Like what was like?
Patsy Walker was a long-term, like a teen character.
Yeah.
It was. But what was the name of it? Like True Romance Patsy Walker or?
I know she ended up in some Millie the Models.
Yeah.
I think she had her own Patsy Walker book for a long time.
Yeah.
Millie the Model was definitely one of them. Yeah.
So anyway, there was a character named Patsy
Patsy
Walker.
Loves Hetty was one of the, like, it was her and her rival Hetty Wolf.
Oh, my
They were
God.
always going after the same jobs and fighting over boys, like you do.
And those jobs were in the 50s. So
Patsy and Hetty and Patsy
secretaries
Walker.
and-
Okay. I may have imagined that she shared a universe with Millie the Model. I'm not sure.
I know we.
sure
I think
that
these
I'm sure
days
that
we
they did.
assume they knew each other, but I'm not sure if they did canonically at the time.
Anyway, the most important thing is that Patsy Walker had nothing to do with superheroes.
Nope.
She was a romance character. And I think it was Roy Thomas, if I'm correct, who created Patsy Walker Hellcat.
I know George Perez drew the early issues, but I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't remember.
Well, I say that because Roy Thomas famously did not like giving original IPs to Marvel, at least according to the unauthorized biography.
Marvel: The Untold Story.
Untold Story, yeah. which is why like the Vision was created, because he was just like, well, the Vision already mostly exists.
Steve
in the form of
Englehart.
Jim Hammond. So now, what's that?
Steve Englehart.
Oh, Steve Englehart. So I was wrong.
Nice.
But still, Roy Thomas.
Well, Roy may have
famously-
elected to like use her heavily
famously
in
did
the
that,
in the Avengers run, or she basically, if the non-superhero stuff wasn't doing well, there were a variety of other things. And when the superheroes really took off in the '60s, they started recycling other parts of their publishing empire for superhero purposes.
So Patsy Walker is a romance character who they bring forward and create Hellcat with her, and she's a romance character, and I think that they
It's
retcon
romance,
it.
but it's also like it's career girl comics. They're just very 50s career girl comics.
They were
about
everything I've ever
frenemies.
read about them is that they were labeled romance comics. So
It was very Teen Skipper from what I've seen.
yeah.
it's the question of like, does Archie count as a romance comic?
Very fair.
That's
Very fair.
it. Like,
yeah.
are we talking code for comics with a broad and multi-gendered audience, or are we talking actual stories of romance? Probably a little of column A, a little of column B.
I've only ever read like 1 or 2 issues.
We should read more because I read 1 or 2, and she breaks the fourth wall, and it's insane.
I'm going to bring some of my National Velvet comics in, and we're just going to read about people riding horses. It's going to be amazing.
So they retcon her to say, I think that it was her mother, because I know that that's what they did in Jessica Jones, so I might be getting this origin mixed up with the comic book origin. So if you know, correct me, please. But I know that it was something
There's
like...
a version of this that does happen in the comics, I get it
her
mixed
mother,
up now, too. But
yeah, like I haven't studied it in a while, but her mother wrote those comics, wrote those stories about Patsy Walker, but that girl who her mother wrote about when she was younger grew up to become a vigilante in the real world.
she finds a costume in a basement, just puts it on, and declares herself an adventurer. It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And yes, that becomes part of her story, is that
And I
her
love it.
mom used to write like teeny bopper comics about her, which in more plugs for Kate Leth and Brittany Williams' wonderful
Such a good
Patsy
book.
Walker run. But they end up using all of that history and sort of retelling it and changing it up and reintroducing her rivals, and it's great.
It's great.
But in the meantime, she went on to have decades of career as an Avenger, because why not?
Why not?
I think I was going to show off some more examples of letter columns and their titles. This is The Flash from July 2000 with its letter column, Speed Reading.
Nice.
Wow, was my head spinning after reading this Kadabra storyline. And you can see the transition is happening because Jennifer Contino has submitted via the internet.
Man, what a time.
Via the internet.
Via the internet.
Amazing.
Well, there was an interesting, and I'm sure we're gonna, again, like I know my God, you've got like a curriculum.
Sorry,
pulled
I
out.
got really excited.
No, I
just
feel
started
it.
going through
There
comics
was
going,
an
"Who has a
interesting
letter
moment
column?"
of watching the internet and the letters columns starting to interact, and like how they started to like feed into each other in the early 2000s. The book I was going to mention, I wish I'd brought one because it was pretty much. It was like one of the last letter columns I paid attention to up until the most recent boom was Next Wave.
Yeah.
Which was this really interesting, we'll talk about it at some point, experimental superhero team comic book by Warren Ellis, Next Wave Agents of Hate, and of course its letter column was called Hate Mail, which was H-A-T, because H-A-T-E stood for something, so it was like an abbreviation. And one of the things that they did was it was one of the first times I remember the letters column really interacting with people like on the internet in the way of like, they had a band wrote a theme song for the comic book. There's a theme song for Next Wave. It has its own theme song that you can find on the internet. That's both amazing and terrible at the same time. It's
Both amazing
phenomenal.
and terrible.
Yeah.
As only a comic book theme
Yeah.
song could be.
It's like it like does like even the roll call of everyone, and
Oh yes.
including like like Aaron Stack. It's Aaron. He's going to organize your sock drawer.
So it's like-
Captain. His name is the Captain. That's way. Yeah, it's just great.
So it's like the Ninja Turtles, where it's like
Except awful. Yeah.
Raphael is cool but rude.
Yeah.
Michelangelo's a party dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
like, you have
trying
to
to,
have the
like-
roll
You gotta
call.
give
I'm
people
trying to remember what
breaks, yeah.
Monica's was. Like Monica, she was like, it's the leader of the team, and yeah, Aaron is going to organize your sock drawer. That's all I remember is yeah.
That's fantastic.
Machine Man is going to organize your sock drawer. That's what I do remember.
I found there were a few others.
Brittany.
Either thank you, you're welcome, or apologies for the gratuitous shirtless dude on the other page here. But this is X-Mail from 1998.
I own that.
Yep.
Oh man.
This is X-Men 351. This is, again, only a few years before the pages kind of go away. And one thing I enjoyed about flipping through this one was that the first letter goes, absolutely loved issue 347, can't wait till the next issue comes to my comic store, etc., etc. So until they finally finish the X-Men movie, not gonna happen, make mine Marvel, says Lenora Ashford from Valley Stream, New York.
Wow.
Also with the full address, which this is 1998, so playing with fire, guys. The internet's being invented right now, watch out. But Lenora Ashford, they said, come on, Lenora, that X-Men movie could be just around the corner. Well, in a few years anyway, but we promise it'll be worth the wait.
What year was this?
I believe
98?
this was January 1998.
Yep.
Okay, so
At the time, we were all like, haha, yeah, like that's ever actually happening.
what's interesting about that is that Lauren Schuler Donner bought the rights, if I remember correctly, to the X-Men in 1992 or 94 to help start saving. Actually, that was before they started having bankruptcy trouble. But they sold those rights directly to them. They had an overall deal with Fox, and they had been trying to make the movie ever since, like legitimately actually trying to make the movie ever since. And it went into production a year after that came out. So it went into production in 1999 with Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman.
But at the time, it was just
But at the
endless
time, it was-
rumors. Maybe this time.
It was a Gen X TV special that we choose not to reflect upon too deeply.
Which I still haven't.
Have you never
watched,
seen it?
It's amazing.
Despite it being
It's
my favorite bit.
it's like the most expensive episode of Dallas ever produced. It's really, oh man.
Did you ever see the Justice League pilot?
Oh yeah, of course. I owned it
No.
on VHS because you have to.
Amy, it is.
We may have to have a
It
viewing.
is so bad. It is so bad. I'm trying to. Who else? Like,
we
I
don't-
don't think Superman or Batman are in it, but
No.
I think.
I'm going to quick hit some of the
it's
other.
so bad. It's
These
so
are
bad.
examples of letter column titles. Plastic postcards
Solid.
for Plastic Man. You've got.
Where are we going?
We're going
Oh.
here for the
Puntastic?
Shazam Mail. They did not have to think a long time about that one. They
No.
just went, what do we call
Shazam
the
Mail.
Shazam Mail?
Shazam Mail.
Shazam Mail!
Yeah.
Which is perfect in here.
I'm glad that they didn't spell mail M-A-L-E.
Yeah, Shazam Mail.
And I was excited to find this one because what you'll notice if you look up letter columns online is that there were certain personalities who got very famous for writing many letters. The most famous of all of them is T.M. Maple, who, according to Wikipedia, had over 3,000 letters published,
What?
starting, I think, in the 60s and continuing until the early 90s. He initially wrote in as the Mad Maple, but when one of the companies, I think it was Marvel, had a policy that they weren't going to print any more pseudonymous letters, one of the editors just started abbreviating it as if they were initials, T.M. Maple, and he wrote under that name for basically the rest of his life.
Wow.
So it
Do
wasn't
we
a
know
legend.
who he is?
He's a nice gentleman from Canada, I believe. Ultimately, his identity was revealed.
Well, I mean, nice gentleman from Canada is sort of like.
That
it's
describes
redundant.
lots of
that's-
people,
yeah,
mostly
like-
Canadians.
Yeah, that's.
I was
Not all,
just
but a
under half
lot.
of them, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the other, I got excited because I was looking it up online and they were listing some of the names of the very frequent contributors whose names you might start to recognize became known as letter hacks. And one of the other very famous letter hacks that they said, would write such detailed, interesting letters that some of the pages would get expanded to 2 pages, some of the letters columns would get expanded to 2 pages just to accommodate his replies, was Peter Sanderson, who's actually in this Shazam from 1975.
Whoa.
Well done, Peter Sanderson. Your letter takes up an entire column of this, but
Oh
they
my
found worth attention. And
What is he?
thank you for your
I
detailed
mean,
critique.
don't read the whole thing because we'll be here all night. But like, what is he like? Is he making an argument for something? Or?
It's just really detailed feedback. The Pied Unpiper in Shazam 17 was a vast improvement over last issue's lead story. I assume we heard from him last month as well. For one thing, in most of the new Captain Marvel stories, you've been unable to come up with a villain other than the traditional big names, Sylvana, Ibak, and Mr. Mind, who could carry the whole story. Here you solve the problem by giving us 4 sets of villains, etc., etc.,
Wow.
etc., etc., etc.
Wow.
I couldn't write this
Wow.
critique without praising the fine Schaffenberger art. As for the reprints, the Cap Jr. story provided a welcome change of pace with its grim tone, but although the Shazam reprints are usually excellent, I was disappointed this time. I prefer seeing CM fighting mad scientists and superpowered menaces rather than ordinary crooks. Peter Sanderson, Milton, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm Just delighted by this.
I love everything about letters columns.
Oh my God. You're making me love letter. Like, I've never really gotten into letters columns because for me, it's like, I don't know that I have time to, it's like, I want to get on to the next
They
comic.
really slow you down. I will admit to that immediately.
And so oftentimes it's, I really like this thing. I think you're doing it great. I feel like that's like 90% of the letters to me.
What I did find online is that the companies had different reputations for whether they would print criticism and what kinds. And it would shift over time. Which one was the sort of like, you only print the good news, and which ones were sort of printing the like warts and all, you really screwed up this time. What's really, really fun, and I couldn't find a bunch of great examples this time, is to look for letters columns a few issues after big things happen.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful rundown Comics Alliance did when DC was bringing back the letter column briefly in 2011. Somebody wrote an article that was like, here are some reasons you might not want to bring it back, and mostly it's just a very funny rundown of letter column highlights. But some of them were things like the letter column from right after the death of Gwen Stacy, which is just death threats. But like, you know, probably funny, jokey death threats. But it's just, because I think somebody said, like, maybe someone should throw Jerry Conway off a bridge.
Wow.
And they printed it.
Yeah.
Like.
Because he killed Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. They're like, how would you like
Spoilers.
it?
Wow. Yeah.
For the record,
for the
we
record.
do not endorse death threats of any kind under any circumstances. But these historical examples
historical
of
examples
correspondence are hilarious.
Oh
'cause
my God.
They printed, in that case, they did not just go with the happy news. You can watch people just losing it in real time in the letters pages of classic comics.
Oh my God, amazing.
Wow. I'm a big fan of no prizes. I don't know if you marked any no prizes.
I didn't shoot. I should have.
Did I just ruin everything?
While I look.
No prizes were a
have
really
no prizes.
fascinating idea, and I was obsessed with no prizes when I was a teenager. The no prize was basically if you found a continuity. This was for Marvel Comics, and a lot of letters that got printed in the Marvel Comics books were people who were noticing continuity issues at sort of the early beginnings of inter-comic book continuity of how people couldn't have been in the same place twice, or if they changed clothes, or some weird thing had happened where they didn't reference it properly, and people would write in noticing these discrepancies. But what Marvel did, and it's one of the most genius things I've ever heard of, was that if you could explain, not only catch the continuity error, but explain it away, and explain to the Marvel editorial how it wasn't really a continuity error, how this was actually all part of the plan, they would award you a no prize. And you would get a no prize.
I love it so much.
I think there was a real piece of paper. The no prize was an actual piece of paper that just awarded you nothing.
Really? They said you just.
Like
I think, well, I've seen a picture of a thing that says no prize with like the Hulk going, and I think, but it was there we are. This envelope contains a genuine Marvel Comics no prize, which you have just won. Congratulations from the Marvel Comics Group at 625 Addison Avenue, New York, 10022. Yeah.
But that envelope is worth it.
But the no prize,
worth
the no
it.
prize was you would have to explain away the continuity error. So the very notion of you writing in with like you made a mistake automatically solved it, which is genius.
Yo, I went looking to see if I could find a no prize.
You found it on the first run in Thor, didn't you?
I didn't, but Mighty Thor 384, which is from 1987, features the wonderful title, The Hammer Strikes.
Not bad.
Or The Hammer Strikes, depending on whether the letters are hammer strikes or whether the hammer is doing the striking here.
Or whether the names are like the Hammer Strikes.
Or the hammer is on strike.
Hammer Strikes.
Yeah, it's like I'm not being paid enough and I'm out.
So apparently they made use of some of these detailed attentions because somebody said, like, they're writing in with a question about when Fin Fang Foom was created, amazingly. And their PPS, by the way, is Whatever Happened to the Merry Marvel Marching Society. That was Scott Brody
for real.
in Foster City, California. And they said, you've done some good research there, Scott. They go into the origins of Fin Fang Foom. And then they go, our thanks to ace researcher Peter Sanderson for providing us with the above info.
Whoa!
This is 12 years after the one we were just looking at.
Peter Sanderson.
Funny you should mention the Merry Marvel Marching Society, Scott. For those of you who might not be familiar with the good old MMMS, Marvel had a fan club that was started back in the 60s. Over the years, it seems to have quietly slipped away. Rumor hath it that there are plans underfoot, to revive the MMMS, but it's only a rumor. I don't know. Somebody look up 1987 and find out if they revived
The Merry Marvel
MMMS.
Marching Society.
But Peter Sanderson
God, I want to
Get around, boy.
I want to meet this guy. And what was the name of the other guy? The Maple
T.M.
T.M.
Maple. I
Maple.
think he has unfortunately passed away. But
I still want to find these
yeah,
guys.
the family of T.M. Maple, please contact us. Did he keep copies of every book that he got a letter published in?
I was going to say,
Probably
somewhere there's a
so.
tombstone with a letter to the editor on it. Which I'm a big fan of a good epitaph.
Oh
I'm a
my
big fan of a good
God.
epitaph. A good epitaph is worth its weight in gold. So.
So I will add that even when the big two were sort of phasing out the letters pages or less consistent with them, a lot of times the torch has been carried by the indies. Things like Gru, who in this case I think they gave most of it to an essay, but Gru text is the letters column or essay portion of the back of Sergio Aragonés's Gru from the 80s. This is also a space, of course, which allows for a lot of direct conversation from the creators, which is one thing that makes them so endearing. You have Atomic Robo with its Teslagrams.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's a really nice name.
You've got Buffy, which has... Dark Horse has been very consistent. Slay the Critics is the... spoilers for the end of this issue of Buffy. Slay the Critics, the long-running letters column here. Hellboy has had one very consistently, and there are apparently very thriving letter communities for classic Savage Dragon over at Image, which influenced or inspired Robert Kirkman, who has a letters column in Walking Dead, which has become fairly famous because he'll answer questions about continuity, and there you can have long-running in-jokes. There was an issue like...
That makes sense with Larson, yeah.
Robert Kirkman promised, I think in his letters pages, that was where he made the promise that like really early in the run, he was like, if we make it to issue 75, we'll reveal that it's aliens or something like that. And then they had a joke thing when they got to issue 75 because nobody really thought they were going to make it that far. But there was like they paid off that long-running joke, which would only make sense if you were reading the letters pages.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And that kind of brings us to the like golden age letter pages for me now, which is the indies, Sex Criminals, Saga, The Wicked and the Divine.
The Wicked and Divine letter page.
All of which are incredible. Bitch Planet, which combines really brilliant back matter with a letters page, all of which are making an art form out of the community sense of these letter forms. For instance, in Saga, there's no other way to communicate with Brian K. Vaughan. He's quit social media.
Yeah.
So it is literally only through the physical mail can you send letters into the Saga letters column, which is then totally bonkers as your reward. They run an annual reader survey, which they publish the results of every year about who is reading it and their interests. And his dog selects a winning letter every month that gets a piece of junk from his office, where it's like a used ticket stub from the premiere I got invited to and half a candy bar. Like, that's your prize. But if Hamburger K. Vaughan picks your letter, I believe you get an immortal, it's basically no prize level.
Yeah.
No, but that's better than a no prize. That's like a kind of prize or a some prize.
It's an actual some prize, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a some prize. It's not a no prize.
Who does it? There's a writer. There's an author that does that too. I'm trying to remember.
Send you junk?
Yeah, Fight Club. What's his name? I just blanked entirely. I know.
Palahniuk.
Chuck Palahniuk. Yeah.
Yeah, he opens up time where if you write him a fan mail, and like he'll say like I'm open to fan mail for 6 weeks, and if you send me a letter in this 6 weeks, I will write you a letter back and send you a bunch of stuff. Like my mother wrote him a letter and he sent her a box of stuff, including like a switchblade comb, like one of those, and like it was like a long typed letter, like he really
so cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Your mom is awesome.
My mom's weird. Yeah, my mom's great.
Your mom is awesome.
She's very weird, but she's great.
Yeah.
She's very happy.
It was fun to hang out with her at Burning Man.
Oh man,
this past year. That was a good time.
Forgetting.
Is that a drink every time either one of us references?
My mom, yeah.
Or a Burning Man.
Or Burning Man.
One of my favorite things about the Saga letter columns especially is so oftentimes I've seen parents with their kids, like holding up their babies, like dressed as like various Saga characters. And I love like kids and pets. Like that's what I'll look like. I'll look at every letters column. I just typically won't read them, but I'll look for the pictures and be like, oh, that kid's dressed up like the ghost from Saga. I love it.
I read the Wicked and Divine letter column, the Iron Man letter column. I read a few of them. Like it's interesting. Like there are letter columns that I gravitate towards, and they all have a very unique, especially now because there are so many ways, I suppose, to communicate with creative teams. they really are distinct flavors that build and evolve in these groups. The Gillen Wilson the team up books I specifically really got into because of the Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
For Phonogram and for Young Avengers, and sort of then once I found out they were also doing these big editorial notes too, and they actually do this for the Wicked and Divine, where every issue gets a Tumblr page of editorial notes, and then finding the best commentary on that in the letters column. It was just sort of watching the way that these books move is really fun.
By the way, the instructions in this issue of Wicked and Divine, until then, do feel free to drop us a line. And the typical thing is mark your letters okay to print, which is something we should probably start instituting with ours.
Well, we did have a couple people say, like, say this, not this.
It's just nice and useful.
Yeah.
Although you can say okay to print, but you can also go just really specific with it. Please send any thoughts you have to wickdiv@gmail.com and include okay to print / revenge is a dish best served with a tendril through the eye. Wait, no, this is icky. All in capital letters. So I assume all of these people wrote in with those very specific instructions. There is a kid who's been going, like, who writes from class, who's been writing into WickDiv the entire time of its run, and, like, I'm too invested in his life, where I'm like, I hope he's doing well.
Oh my God. Like, the comic book community is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like, so amazing. Like, it's a very specific person who loves comics that much.
Thank you. I've never written into a letter column.
Same. Like, I should.
I've done
make that a challenge.
I've done
We should all do
other
that.
things. I've done other things. I've done things I'm proud of. So, but I've written
may have
forwards,
had
I've written
one
quotes, I've done
published.
things like that. You had a letter published? I've had cosplay
what?
photos published, but
In
in
what
a different,
comic?
yeah.
I didn't find the copy, and
They're going to
what
find
was
it though if you say it, because you have to say it now.
You have to say it now.
it was the bestest thing ever.
Where was it published?
I have a letter published in Lazarus #4.
Oh, I love Lazarus.
Really?
Oh,
Because I
Lazarus
wrote.
terrifies me too, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's the scariest book.
It's a scary book.
It was one of the absolute highlights of my life. A friend who had moved across the country texted me a picture that Wednesday because he was just reading his issue of Lazarus and was like, "Wait, what?
Wait,
Holy
what?
shit!"
Amy Dallen?
Yeah, it was.
But you
the
couldn't find
best.
it?
Well, it's in a different box.
Oh, okay.
I have. And then I took a screen cap, but I chickened out.
Oh, that's very you. Okay, now I'm into that.
Yeah, there was a great
Now I gotta
reference to
buy
letters
Lazarus 4.
columns in the.
I've got it at my house somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure, well.
Oh, okay. I love this. This is not a letters column, but Matt Fraction in the back of Casanova would do these. Was in this particular set of printing of them, he was doing all these interviews, but he explicitly addresses what he wants people to get out of it. And then he basically said, I wanted to try and put stuff out there that might inspire, arrogant as that sounds, whomever it is will one day do the next Casanova or Scott Pilgrim. He's talking to Brian Lee O'Malley in this letters column, or whatever. I want to make something like Morrison's run on Doom Patrol, something where, like, if you're 14 to 15 years old and suddenly there's this thing you like reading and it's full of references to other cool things, you go out and start digging. And so
That's so awesome.
So he puts all of this, like, stuff that inspires him, and they go back and forth, and the back issues of each of these are full of that, which he's done and which Ed Brubaker has made an art form out of, including references and research material in the back matter. He does it specifically just for the single issues as a way to enrich that experience. There's like a thing going now where there's kind of an ongoing question of, like, should this stuff be reprinted? It's sort of too... Like, it takes up a lot of pages in the trade. It would make it expensive or long. It's tough to print.
But it's
if
so
you print the book
fascinating.
without it, you're losing this piece of the experience. And it's kind of to me, an unsettled question.
There's a lot of, I know I'm going to keep going back to McKelvey and that crowd, but there's a lot of that with the phonogram books because of there were little micro stories that were published in the original runs that they were thinking about leaving out of the graphic novel collections, and then also a lot of back matter for the musical references because there were so many musical.
Oh, the glossaries.
The glossaries, and they read like the Devil's Dictionary. Like it was like just snarky.
I love those glossaries because I'm not cool enough to know who any of the bands are, so I literally go use them when I'm reading Phonogram to find out who
it's
I'm
so
talking
useful.
about.
It's so useful. They're great, and they're wonderful in that direction. But like I know we were getting to it eventually, but the Invisibles column.
Yes, go.
Yes. The Invisibles column, which you brought one of my favorite of the original run issues right here, which is Invisible Ink. The Invisibles letter column was such a fascinating reality, and Grant Morrison, who was writing it at the time, was traveling the world, having adventures, doing very strange things, and was
Doing this with one hand.
talking about, and like in a lot of these books, he's talking about all of the strange things that he's doing, all these amazing adventures he's having. And the people he's communicating with are also getting so much out of this book and having such an amazing conversation. If you want, and if you're careful, if you look around, you can find some genius has put up the complete Invisibles letter column, Invisibles Inc. as a PDF online, as a free PDF if you feel like reading it. It's a 111-page long PDF. It's just phenomenal, and it's filled with fascinating, interesting lectures, interesting connections to the book. There's the famous Grant Morrison got really sick and was hospitalized during the making of this book, and asked his readers to perform an occult ritual that involved self-punishment of some kind that I highly recommend is worth your time to read. It's just a deep treasure trove of pop culture and
So help
fantasy.
me out here.
Yeah.
From Stephanie Grant in Australia. Here's what she wrote. You ready?
All right, bring it.
Grant, dear. Zeitgeist. Yeoman Yewell's yodels. Existentialist little thugs. Wormhole eyes. Virgin bombers. Unplanned umbilical ties. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. Spindle finger slime suckling real live language. Quintessential questions. Psychedelic pulchritude. Overkill Liverpool. No, no, no. Yes, good. Bad. Male patternless baldness lobotomy. Kabuki wig. J delinquent. It just goes on. It's just a list.
That's
And then
the alphabet backwards.
is that what it is?
I mean, so far.
Driving the astral I-plane. Carpe mundum. Book burning. All praise to thee, O Morrison. Yeah. Yeah, so far, yeah.
Carpe, book, all praise.
Yeah, well, I didn't even notice it. And then he writes back, Stephanie, dear, Antipodean airmail artistry, secret star maps, something, next! That's it.
Feel the pain.
Uh-oh.
Bring it. Yes!
Yes! Comic shop clerk, yes.
I left out the part that obviously knocked me on my butt, which is that apparently he already knew about Geek and Sundry.
Wait, really?
Talking Comics, part of Geek and Sundry. Wow.
I wrote into a comic and he said nice things about me, and we had never met at that point, and then I met him at a convention, and he and his family are the nicest people in the universe. So it's the best thing that has ever happened.
That's amazing.
That
me.
is so
That's
cool.
so fucking cool.
We really should do a Lazarus episode, because that book is so, like...
So for the record,
it's
everything I say about Greg
terrifying,
Rucka, I'm hideously biased. Just let that be out there.
You're a monster.
He and his wife Jen
Hideously.
Van Meter are the sweetest, most talented people, and just like, yeah. So that's a thing that happened.
I could watch this all day. This is so exciting.
He had written in his first issue where he said that people tease him about his women because he's always writing books about interesting women, and it made me
How
all mad.
dare
So I
him.
shot a letter off, being like, keep it up.
Yeah.
Screw
Keep
'em.
it up. Yeah. Screw those guys.
Yeah. So that letters columns, I already liked them before, but yes, wildly biased. But I am going to find this other thing, which was one of the best letters I ever found in the wild.
Chat room agrees with you.
Just,
Carry on.
Yep. So that's so embarrassing, but
That's not embarrassing. I
it's
think that's
the
wonderful.
best thing that ever happened.
I'm jealous. I'm going to start writing into letters columns now, just so I can
this
get
is
in the
also
comic.
weird to ask online, but do you want any food for tonight? They're ordering from Toro, so
Neat.
I think that's a yes.
Yes, I will Venmo whoever is necessary.
Not to let you all in at home on more of our process than we mean to, but there we are.
I just realized that the thing I forgot to load up, I can find on the internet, probably. Hold on.
What?
Uh,
Yeah, if there's a, I was going to say, Chief, I don't know if, well, I'm sure someone will put in the chat where they can find the Invisibles letter column, but it is if you've got 111 issues, 111 pages worth of reading that you feel like doing, it is genuinely fascinating, and especially for a book, if you're actually reading the Invisibles graphic novels on Comixology, it's a great companion to that, because you really get a sense of, that book has so much to do with Grant Morrison's journey that he's personally taking through Kathmandu and across Asia. That it's just it's interesting to sort of see his experience as it moves down against the book. Yes, Invisibles. I can talk forever about the Invisibles because I have a problem.
You could talk forever about
Stall
Grant
while I
Morrison
find
and
this.
and you have.
I know.
By the way, we did an entire episode where Amy and I just stared at you.
I can
It
do
was
another one
amazing.
still on.
No,
him.
there's a part 2 that's coming,
There
I'm
is.
sure.
Well, we
we
also
still have to cover the latter half.
It's going to get so great.
And we barely talked about super gods. We should do an entire episode on that where we just kind of like read that book.
All of our good questions are actually. While you're looking for that, I'm gonna brag. I can brag really quickly.
No, do it. Brag.
While I've never written a letter before, I've never written a letter. I have been asked to write forewords for comic books before, so that is a thing that does exist. I've also been asked for quotes for comic books before.
Which comics can you say? For Wicked and Divine?
oh, dang!
So on the back of the book,
Below, look who I'm directly below.
Kelly Sue DeConnick, above NPR's 100 favorite comics and graphic novels, is Taliesin Jaffe from Critical Role.
Oh yeah.
Saying, I make loud and intense personal judgments based on which god someone identifies with. And if you haven't read it, we're probably not on speaking terms.
This is so true. So it's not quite a letter column, but I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Give me.
So that happened today.
Oh my
This
God.
came out today. This collection, the 6th? 5th?
No, it's 6th of the book, but it's part 2 of the Imperial Phase. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that makes me happy. That's good company to be in.
Oh my God.
That's very good company. I'm quite pleased.
That's incredible.
Oh, that's so
Thank you, Kieran.
rad.
That was he contacted me via Twitter and was like, yes, I will do this. Of course. My God.
Oh my God.
I'm still
who
awkward.
Who contacted you?
Oh, yeah, Gillen.
Kieran?
Yeah, Kieran Gillen. So I was just dumb on the internet, and I don't know how to.
I remember when it happened, you were like, what is life?
I'm not I'm really not like anybody who attempts to talk to me on the internet knows that I'm very awkward and bad at dealing with having conversations on the internet. I just get really awkward and flustered and turn into a 12-year-old.
Now I'm the only one of the trio that has no
Yet.
comic book. I better get on
Yet.
that.
Although I feel like you get like you've chosen wisely in your personal life in a way that gives you are entitled to partial credit for Squirrel Girl.
That is fair.
No, I
That
think
is
I
fair.
think you
That is
definitely have earned that at the very least.
That is fair. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
All right. Okay, I found it.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect
Yay.
timing.
This is one of my favorite things that ever happened from just reading back issues at work, which sometimes that's what you do with your time. The sad truth is that when you work at a comic shop, there is actually not a lot of time to read. But the best case scenario is that you do get some. You're reading random back issues. You're reading a 4-part series, or flipping through a 4-part series from Marvel in the early 70s, I think it was, where they are trying one of their waves of what if we get some female creators and do some new female characters. And this is where Night Nurse came from, along with Claws of the Cat.
Got me on that one.
Really?
The character Greer, I think Nelson was her last name at that point. She would basically, the book got canceled after 4 issues. She became Tigra eventually.
Okay, I was about to say
but her costume that she wore in this book gets recycled basically as Hellcat's costume. There's a complicated cat family
Oh.
So.
I was like Greer, like Tigra Greer. Okay.
But so, for instance, Beware the Claws of the Cat, number 3. Was what I happened to be flipping through at the shop.
Let's see if they'll. Yep, there we are.
Sorry, Chief.
Wow.
Oops, there
Wow,
we
look
go.
at that.
Oh my
Beware
God.
the Claws of the Cat, number 3,
Kill
from
Christ,
April
that cockhead.
1973. And this was thank you to the fifthbranch.com from whom I'm borrowing this because I forgot to scan it myself. But Linda Fite was the writer on that, who I think ended up marrying Herb Trimpe. But what's really interesting, as they note, is that when you get through to the letter column about this, it's sort of an interesting kind of, there were elements of like women's liberation that influenced this storyline. And her sort of story is about having to take a more active role and all this stuff. And so one of the letter writers says, "Dear Marvel, wonderful. At last, a woman character with character. I, for one, am sick of the helpless female types which have cluttered up comics for so long. While I do think they are necessary and nice to look at, they don't have to be the only kind." I'm back on board at the end of that sentence. "The writing is good, the art excellent, keep it up. Frank Miller."
And we
Address
know,
included, Montpelier, Vermont.
and we know for certain that is the Frank Miller.
So we know from Wikipedia, thank you, that a Frank Miller who would have been about 15 years old lived in Montpelier, Vermont.
Wow.
I don't know whether anyone ever asked him if this is him, but the age is right and the city is right. And he would go on to, for those unfamiliar with Frank Miller's work, he is an incredibly groundbreaking artist and storyteller, best known for things like The Dark Knight Returns and his own creation, Sin City, although he's both famous for some very interesting proactive female characters and some like insane, over-sexualized, everyone encounters bad situations female
Which,
characters.
by the way, he has.
There's so much
like,
foreshadowing in this letter.
There is. Well, they're nice to look at. I'm gonna draw those. We need some more interesting characters. I'll also draw those. Like,
It's like it's so fascinating, but the idea that baby Frank Miller was fed up with boring female characters and was inspired to
awesome.
write in by being like, finally, a woman doing something. I lost it. I was just like, this can't possibly. So I ran to the internet, and so yeah.
Do people think? I mean, does the internet has noticed that this exists? Obviously.
Yes. Before I happened across it, but it seems as if the general consensus is that the details match. So you never know who's in the letter page, committing themselves in his case to some pretty great opinions for a teenager in 1973.
For Baby Miller.
Yeah.
Baby Frank Miller.
Baby Miller, way to go. Tiny Miller.
Tiny
Thanks,
Miller.
Chief.
Tiny Miller.
Tiny Miller.
Teen Miller. Did you guys know that George R.R. Martin also wrote letters to Marvel?
Oh my God, really? Mm-hmm. I know he was one of the attendees at the
What? Congrats, what?
Running Full 11?
Wins a no prize for catching the Marvel continuity. Nice! But now you have to justify it. Now you have to like tell us how it works.
He found the ball.
This
Well,
is
I know, but like what?
amazing.
Like how is the bowl
He has
going
to
all over the
explain
place?
it.
He has to explain it.
Now he has to explain why the ball
He
is
has to give
moving.
us an in-universe explanation.
For why the bowl keeps moving.
We're good.
Running
We're
Full,
good.
You can get back to us with the
Yeah,
explanation.
oh yeah. No, we're
we
waiting.
believe in you.
All right.
I'm going to assume it has something to do with Matt's magic powers. But
probably
George
so.
R. R. Martin was one of the attendees at that convention where the guy got people's addresses. I wonder if it's from the letters columns.
It may have been because it's 1963. This is the one. This is the only one. I think he did a few, but this is the only one that I found right now. This is in Fantastic Four, and it says, "Dear Stan and Jack, Fantastic Four number 17 was greater than great. Even now, I sit in awe of it, trying to do the impossible. That is, describe it. It was absolutely stupendous, the ultimate utmost. I cannot fathom how you could fill so much action into so few pages. It will live forever as one of the greatest FF comics ever printed, ergo, as one of the greatest of all comics.
Yes!
In what other comic mag could you see things like a hero falling down a manhole, a heroine mistaking a toy inventor for a criminal, and the president of the USA leaving a conference that may determine the fate of the world to put his daughter to bed? The epic story, spectacular and exciting as it is not all that made this mag so great. The letter column was top-notch too. I nearly died when I saw Paul Gambaccini's letter. You've really made him change his tune. That letter was a far cry from the one printed in FF number 9.
Oh my God.
Then there's your cover boast, the world's greatest comic magazine. Brilliant. You were just about the world's worst mag when you started. Whoa.
Wow.
But you set yourself an ideal, and by gumbo, you achieved it. More than achieved it. In fact, why? If you were only half as good as you are now, you'd still be the world's greatest mag. George R. Martin, Bayonne, New Jersey.
There's no way to
no.
add to that.
No.
That's amazing. Please tell me he met that Paul guy at a convention and was like, you were so wrong about FF
No.
before you changed your tune.
I'm certainly glad you changed your tune, sir. You guy.
Comics!
It's the best.
I was trying in a similar vein of ironic fan lettering. I was trying to find, and I found part of it. Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who fan letter to Radio Times from when he was 15 in the 1970s. When he wrote Radio Times about Doctor Who when he was a teenager.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, Peter Capaldi, age 15. Your special has certainly made this a year for Doctor Who fans. A rather sad year due to the untimely death of the Master, aka Roger Dalego. But I hope that in 15 years' time, in 1988, you will publish another special to celebrate 25 years of wandering in time with the Doctor, Peter Capaldi, age 15.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's like a
He
whole.
was so forward thinking for a 15-year-old. He's like imagining the future and like.
In 15 more years.
Yeah, it was a may I
Oh,
congratulate you on your
that's
excellent
awesome.
special. So it's,
May I congratulate you?
with a Scottish accent, which I don't do
So
very well. So
I'm sure. You,
no,
you
no,
probably
Scottish
do-
is kind of shit. So yeah, no. Goes Russian, why not? I don't know. Terrible.
do we also want to talk about fanzines at all, or do we want to jump straight to?
I brought a couple examples, but we might. These are when fanzines are popular enough that the major companies start to imitate them.
Whoa.
You get like official in-house presentations like this, and this very recent one, which is calling back to the history of. There's ads for it in here that I was gonna. I used too much time. It is a magazine based on
Friends of Old
Marvel, and here are the original covers for that. And this
There's
is
a
when they
beautiful
basically,
Jack
it's the
Kirby
mid-70s.
one. Have you
They're-
seen the Jack Kirby?
Yeah,
one
no,
yet?
that's killing me.
I love that one.
They're taking the spirit of those fanzines and kind of bringing them in-house. And by this time, the company is mostly staffed with people who used to work on the fanzines.
Yeah.
So
I think Steranko was the first one. I think edited and spearheaded the very first Foom.
did he?
I think so.
Because he also did a very famous like fan production, but it was his
Yeah.
two-part history of comics, which is one of the most interesting publications in his. Like
Really?
he did a treasury-sized two-part complete history of comics up till that time. That
Whoa.
is just astoundingly cool.
Yeah,
find that.
the anime and manga community had a few of these fanzines as well, where they were.
Yeah.
I mean, because Japanese comics don't really have a letter column per se, the way that you would think. But the American side of it, we had a lot of fanzines where people would actually, since it had to be such a tight knit community, because the very early time of anime and manga, how you would get anime is you would write to somebody with a VHS tape, and they would send you a VHS tape of like 8 hours of
Oh my God.
poorly subtitled whatever they happen to have on hand. And so like you would actually have the home addresses of like anybody who could actually do like home tape duplication.
Oh my God.
So it's
that's
really
amazing.
So like, and there's actually, and I think you can probably find like a couple pictures and letters that I sent in of stuff in like early Protoculture Addicts magazines and Anime UK and a couple of the other,
I love you.
the other like deep cut.
Of course you.
Protoculture Addicts. Protoculture Addicts is an amazing. If you can find old issues of Protoculture Addicts, it is a fascinating look at early fandom, anime and manga fandom in the United States. They are cheap newsprint. Oh God, they're just ridiculous. It's fantastic if you can find it. So, Protoculture Addicts.
There was the book Batman and the Rise of Fan Culture. I know I've referenced it a few times,
Yeah, I
but
was
it is
looking into
so good. And one of the things it talks about is how at the time that the Batman 66 came out with Adam West and all that, how fanzine culture and fanzines like Batmania and stuff like that immediately reacted against that, saying that's not our Batman, you're doing Batman wrong, essentially. And how that fanzine was so loud at DC Comics that they started changing the character in the comics because of the fanzine, and it became this reciprocal thing where they were just kind of feeding on each other. So,
out of curiosity, I know we have a Batman book here. I've never actually looked. What is the name of the Batman letter column? And please tell me it's Batmail.
Yeah.
oh my god.
So at least as of September 1991, issue 468, this is Batman and not Detective Comics.
I also say I have a weird love of the ads in comic books of the 1970s
Oh, that's
and 80s.
a good one. That is
Like
a good.
like
that's
what
a good.
what video game are they selling us at the back? It's a Konami game, I can think.
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone
Oh.
Play
Ranger.
a game with a lot of horsepower.
Oh,
What?
that's an
Get
NES
out.
game,
Which
isn't
one
it?
were we just looking at that has
Get
the
out.
amazing it was right before we started and we found an ad for the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game.
While
on the
you're
back of
looking
one of
for
these.
that, let me throw out. We're going to be doing our 5-minute
thank you.
topic, our one shot,
Our 5-minute topic.
our 5-minute one shot topic.
One chat topic.
So start getting those in, and our producer Liz will find the one that she's going to throw at us.
Like a marshmallow.
It's Wonder Woman. On the back of Wonder Woman is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons cartridge.
For in television, I played the hell out of that game when I was a kid.
The video game where danger lurks around every bend
That
in
game
your
is-
quest for the Golden Crown.
That game is great. That game is great. And they're also apparently using an ad for Superman 3 on the cover of Wonder Woman, which is
Media tie-ins, man. They
Media
have always
tie-ins.
been with us.
So,
Oh.
So
Batman's
this
letter
was
column.
Wonder Words. This is actually a
Wonder
great one
Words,
where
that's
they
a good
ask
one.
her about like her major villains. There's a bunch of Q&A in that one that I love.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
the answer, at least to early 90s.
Do you want to take one more guess? It's not Batmail.
It's not Batmail. Legends of the Dark Right.
Ooh.
No, never mind. That's too weird.
Bad.
No, it's not very good. I can do better.
Ready?
Oh, you
Yeah.
ready?
Bat signals. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's all right.
More Greek
all right.
titles.
The Dark Right.
Include,
I was trying to think. Legends of the Dark Right again. Yeah.
This is very boring. It's called Action Comics Weekly.
Oh,
that's-
The Unworthy Thor.
Ask
me a question.
yes.
That's funny.
To Jason
That's-
Aaron. This
I
is
was-
issue 1, so it's just the essay. They don't have the letters yet. but,
Hello there, Kane.
Also, spoilers.
I will,
for
I
the
will
end
say
of that
modern letter
issue.
the modern letter columns have really funny,
Yeah.
some really good names. They've been some really, really good ones.
Here's Avengers Academy had the after school special.
It's a great one. God, I really like that book. It's
Yeah.
been a while.
Yeah.
God, and now I want to read all those wonderful teen books that ended with the Avengers Island, the Academy Island.
This
Avengers
is a great
Academy?
example of one of the traditions that we engaged in because we couldn't help ourselves. This is issue 2 of America, the current ongoing from Marvel, for not much longer, but at least we have it right now. And the letters column, this one includes all the responses to their "What should we name our letters" column thing. So the first letter they publish has a P.S. How about calling the letters page Americartas? Cartas being Spanish for letter. So they have a ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Your letters page suggestion made me immediately facepalm because I can't believe I didn't think of it first. And then let's see, more suggestions. Bochinche y bendición. I don't know what that means. But hopefully it's not dirty.
We've said it, so
They printed
It's
it.
out there.
And then, maybe you could call the letters column Americana as a tribute to the Kimamanda Ngozi Adichie story. Then the suggested letters page items, My Fellow Americans. As for the letters page, how about Coming to America? Like, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
So that's an example of the modern day letters page at work, where the winner has been chosen, much like our Daily Wednesday.
Daily Wednesday.
Daily Wednesday.
And gets to reign supreme as letters page title.
Speaking of Daily Wednesday, do we want to say?
Oh, there's one more good title.
Sock it to Shellhead.
Oh my God.
Sometimes you just go with it. You just go with socket to shellhead.
I want that Juggernaut Legends figure. I love me the Juggernaut.
I'm not allowed to have action figures anymore.
Well, you have too many.
I have too many things. I have to have less things. I keep buying things.
I just have to go back and say, in reference to last week's episode, I really fell in love with Ironheart.
Yeah.
Over the break, I was like, I don't know, like I really like Tony Stark. I'm gonna miss Tony Stark, but like they answered it in a lot of different ways and created a character that is a lot like Tony Stark, but her own character all the same. You're just like, I can see how they're good friends. Okay, this is really awesome. I love this direction. Okay, cool.
It's the energy. This is my weird comment on Ironheart. It's the energy of Tony Stark from the movies that you can't do in the comic book anymore because of the continuity. Of the manic,
that's fair. That's
the
fair.
manic sort of very I don't want to say self-obsessed, but a character who's definitely into their own thought process and into their own solutions, and is kind of that's going to be their downfall.
Yeah.
The no prize answer. Oh, yeah, thank you. We have a no prize answer. As I'm like, I break the fourth wall.
I'm so excited.
I'm going to say, this is for Running Fool 11, I'm going to say that a parallel universe Gina wandered onto the set to talk to her friends, Amy, Matt, and Taliesin. While snacking on some marshmallows, she touched a button on the set out of curiosity, causing her to phase back into her own original dimension, but leaving behind a bowl of marshmallows.
That is a perfect example of a no prize
Exactly
answer.
what happened. That's why we don't
perfect.
that's why we don't press the buttons.
That's why we don't touch the buttons.
Because
You never know. Like
quantum marshmallow theory.
Come back, alternate Gina.
if I touch the button, I might phase out of
Gina
this
with a
reality
goatee.
and appear on Minds and Crafts in like universe 1098.
Yeah.
In universe 9:30 p.m.
Yep, 9:30 p.m. Yep.
Minds and crafts. That's just fantastic. Oh my.
All right, so do stop me because I'm just going to read you letters columns for the rest of the
Oh,
day.
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
well, let's. I mean,
please.
we've got our own letters. Let's talk to our fans, right?
Daily Wednesday.
Daily Wednesday.
Daily Wednesday.
Woo!
You guys send in stuff. You guys send
Yeah, you
in
guys
letters and stuff.
Yeah, we have our email.
So our plan going forward is that there's a place you can reach us, and every so often we're going to devote a chunk of time to looking at some of that
Yeah.
from all of our wonderful Wednesdays. How do we do this?
Well, we've got those.
Yeah.
First, I do want to say I posted on Twitter that we were going to be doing this, and Leah at Leah574 said, "Can't stay
Leah.
up. Yay, VODs, but do have a question."
Yeah. I saw this question. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I thought I would ask that real quick. What is a current trend in today's comics that you'd like to see changed? I have my answer. Sick and tired of events. I never thought I'd have event fatigue. I have event fatigue. I don't want to see another event anywhere for a year. Just give it a year. I just want to see like a nice
Like events like Olympics every 4 years kind of thing.
Yeah. Like when it started off as like, hey, what's up? It's the Secret Wars. That was cool. But now it's like every year there has to be like 7 events for every single like different editorial line. And it's just like, stop. I just want to read a good X-Men story.
I would I would like to see a heavier commitment to miniseries. Like instead of creating ongoing books and then canceling them, just like giving something a 12-issue run and then letting it be. And then if you want to go back and do another 12 issues, then like take a couple months and then do another 12 issues. I know that's like a weird.
It's interesting. It has its pluses and minuses.
It has its pluses. It has its minuses.
I mean, doing it intentionally so that people know what they're getting into is a great idea. I guess right now, the current trend that I might try to buck would be the like double shipping and 1.5 shipping for comics, where right now a lot of books are shipping between 18 and 24 issues a year. Up to 24 at DC,
That's
where
a
they're
lot.
officially every other week. It's turning out to be a pretty great reading experience for people, but I'm very worried long term that it makes it really tough on the creative teams. You need a multiple stable of artists in order to keep up a pace like that. And I don't want to burn out the writers and artists working on this, even though it has been like surprisingly, like the DC schedule has been very successful on this model. I'm just worried about it long term. So I think I'd like to go back to monthly or other kinds of organizing that might take some of that pressure off. That's my answer.
All
That's a
right.
good answer. Yeah, not to mention like 4 readers, that's a lot to read.
It is a lot. It's always scary. Like I think one of the reasons people don't get into this hobby is because the commitment feels intense. And as somebody who has to read every week, whether I want to or not, like well, I mean I want to, but like we have to read. It is daunting.
Yeah.
This is genuinely daunting on occasion.
Yeah.
There
It is.
Because at the same time, the alternate model is flourishing where books like Saga and Rat Queens, or Saga and Rat Queens is on and off, but like the Saga and Paper Girls are doing like a 6-part story, a month off, a trade, a month off, and they come back. And it can be frustrating as a reader because it feels like it takes forever for things to come out, but it's actually very predictable. And if you give it a little bit of time, like things come out in a predictable way. The fan bases don't give up on you because you go quiet for 2 years.
It's not Astro City or anything. Or
It's been
wow, that's an in-joke. Sorry, people.
stable and a great way to build those books over time, and it has allowed them to manage the stress on their creative teams much more effectively.
Yeah.
I don't
That's a
I
good
wouldn't want
answer.
it, those kinds of months off for like your X-Men books. I'm not sure if that'll ever be reasonable.
I thought a lot about it when I was a little bit more into my weekly books and before I went digital. And what I thought would be fun was having like an X-Men book, a Wolverine book, an Uncanny X-Men book. So as long as there's just an X-Men book every week, I could have 4 X-Men books and have one every week, but just know that every week I'd have something to pick up.
And it's a different storyline, so
It was a
it's
different
not like it's
storyline.
not too hard to stay on top of it. Yeah.
No,
Interestingly, today they launched a new Avengers story that is going to be a weekly event, but they are doing it as a they got like the writers of the 3 different Avengers books that were going on to all kind of join in on this like crazy weekly thing that they are doing. So we'll see how that goes.
Is it Avengers and then like Champions or is it
It's like U.S. Avengers and Uncanny Avengers, which I think just wrapped up, basically are all
God, I love
folded into Avengers now. And so the teams of all of those books are involved and the writers are collaborating, but the issues that come out will be Avengers. Sorry, I just
I
brought
love
my
US
comics with me
Avengers.
because I have them.
Yeah.
675, 6, 7, 8 are going to come
Oh,
out
yeah, I
in
was
a row.
looking at that.
That's cool.
You should
I
show
usually
that
don't-
At
off.
the back too. Here's the thing.
Show that off.
I
That's
like to
really
complain
cool.
about cover gimmicks, but also I'm a sucker, and it's cool. So
Ah, it's a lenticular. Now try and see if it'll turn like
That's so rad.
like it's a lenticular 3D cover. I'm really into that.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I
typically
dislike this
kinda-
as a concept, but it is very cool.
Yeah, like I hate the buy a comic, but like it's also like oh man, I wanna-
comic,
I want
yay!
to buy that comic. Yeah.
It's extremely cool.
I really like my Extinction foil covers with Blink on the cover from back in the
Oh,
day.
dude, I
The
love
hologram foil.
I
love my
my
hologram
Fatal
foil.
Attractions like X-Men
Felon's
covers.
Covenant.
Yeah. Oh, it was the shit.
All right, I'm a
Okay.
hypocrite. I love all the things I complain about.
I know. I feel
Hey,
you.
we're allowed to complain about the things that we love.
So yeah,
why
don't miss
we-
the next thrilling chapters of this weekly Marvel epic.
Okay.
676,
That's
7, and
crazy.
8.
We
on
are going
sale in
deep here.
January.
All right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
this was the answer to one letter. We're going to be terrible at this.
Yeah,
guys.
we're gonna
Yeah.
be terrible at this.
Wow.
This is awful.
Right.
In comics, you're stuck with a page or two, and you have to edit yourself. We've
Whereas
just got time.
Now I just want to talk about U.S. Avengers forever because that book's amazing. It's so good.
I need to catch up.
Robert DaCosta is
The book that
Citizen
Oh,
V.
I love
replaced
it.
New
I-
Avengers, yeah.
He's Citizen
Yeah.
V now, who's my other favorite character.
That's-
It's so dumb. Ah, they took an amazing character and gave him the code name of another amazing character. It is the turducken of superheroes. It's amazing. I'm okay. Oh my God.
Somewhere
You're allowed to
in
say that
here-
because you're quoted on the back.
I
of
am
the-
because
of this book.
this is my official permission to say anything I like.
Yeah, exactly.
Citizen V. We will eventually do a Thunderbolts episode where I will.
Oh, we've been talking
sing
about
the
that the whole
phrases
time.
Yeah,
of-
we should
of-
do one. That's-
Yeah, of Baron Zemo being the coolest Captain America villain of all time. Pull
Oh,
up.
there you go. Here's the cast of this book.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
No wonder people feel daunted, but also, yay, Avengers.
Well, it is the daunting book. Like that is the whole.
But the idea is
Here,
if they're
show-
doing
show
their
it to the-
job, they're
show it
going
to
to
the-
walk you through this.
Yeah.
I love. This is actually something. Speaking of letter columns, this is something worth mentioning. This is something that the Marvel books do now that I really like, which they give you a little
Cast of
synopsis and a cast of characters in the front of their books, which I'm really digging.
It
Yeah.
comes and goes, but I like it.
I
as a
really
concept.
love it when they do it. It's
Yeah.
really, really solid and helps you get it. It made the last Secret Wars story arc really work for me.
Oh,
It was
the
like-
Hickman one?
Yeah, Hickman's great at giving you a little guidebook.
Also, certain books like
Ah.
Squirrel Girl and Hawkeye. I'm holding the Fraction Hawkeye, but they do it on the Kelly Thompson Hawkeye, I think too.
Yeah.
Have just amazing, very personable recap pages. Squirrel Girls is usually in the form of Twitter conversations, and they're amazing.
Same with Young Avengers is also a Twitter conversation.
My
There's like some
when
Probably around
oh my God, I almost said Peter Gabriel. He wrote X Factor. Why am I forgetting?
Peter
his-
David.
Peter
Peter
David.
David.
Thank you. I was like Peter Gabriel. Now that's all I could think of. My favorite. He always had one of my favorite summaries because he would be. And the last issue, Madrox did this, and Monet St. Croix said this and this.
From X Factor, from
Yeah,
the
X Factor.
Peter David run of X Factor.
And then under that would be a paragraph. My daughter had her dance recital this last week, and then she came home and got sick, so we've been home taking it. Like, it was always hyper personalized, and I loved it because month to month I'd be like, oh, that's right, his daughter was sick last month. I wonder if she's okay. It was kind of like he was writing a letter to the readers.
Yeah.
Like it was a reverse letter column on the front page, and I loved it. Like that endeared me to that book even more than I already was. Just
Do you remember the title? This is going to be such a weird thing that I have in my mind. I remember the title of the first issue of Peter David's X Factor. Do you remember the title of the first issue?
I don't.
Cutting the Mustard. Do you remember why?
No.
It's because Madrox had a fake can of mustard that it was like a prank, unopenable can of mustard.
Oh, that's right.
And everyone kept trying to open the can, and no one could open the mustard, including Strong Guy. It was just it was a trick bottle of mustard.
Oh, that's so
Couldn't
funny.
be opened, and he was just watching everyone struggle.
Madrox is one of my favorites.
He's one of my.
He's a top 10 favorite.
No,
for
he's
me.
okay.
a top 10 character.
He's the Marvel character I would want to voice more than any other.
Oh my God.
I know. I feel it.
I've tried several times to sit down and write a sort of TV pilot.
There's
spec
so
for
many.
Madrox.
We're gonna have to do My Favorite X-Men is another offshoot of
That
just
would
My Favorite Mutant,
Yeah.
because he's so out. He's
What was
so up
what
there.
was
Guys,
the?
we're only one
We're on the
away.
letter column.
Yeah.
Sorry, we went off.
Sorry.
Way off. Yeah.
Do you want to? You're leading. Do you want to take just take one at
Yeah,
random?
pick
Sure,
one.
is there
or-
an order to the
I don't know.
No,
that
there's-
Producer Liz.
Start top, work your way down.
Well,
Start-
Matt has moved them.
No, here. It was. No, it was. No, it was. oh my goodness, move that one.
them.
I threw you right under that bus.
Yeah, you're like,
How's
there goes
it
the
feel
bus.
down
Yeah,
there?
go
Oh,
there.
all right, under
No,
the wheels are coming.
all I did was
There's that one.
all I did was that and grab the one underneath it.
Okay.
It's a stove cat.
Still can't. Come on, Chief. I moved a letter.
Okay.
Why does Chief hate me?
All right.
I hate you out of love.
It's the toughest love.
Where's
Bulletproof love.
shoot? I wanted to.
Oh,
This
Truncheon.
actually is relevant to. What did I do with?
What are you looking
What are you
for?
looking
Did you see Swamp Thing on this table?
No, I have not seen any Swamp Thing.
I have not seen
He's
Swamp
here
Thing.
somewhere.
Are you certain?
Yeah.
There's a Shazam. I found Shazam. Will Shazam work?
I mean, that's good as well.
Oh, there it is.
For those of you laughing along at home,
I love this because this issue contains the responses to the first issue of Swamp Thing, where people are like, "I think you're onto something." It's really great. Gail Burt from Temple City, California says, "Gentlemen, what have you done? How you ever managed something like this, I will never comprehend. But may I say, congratulations! Swamp Thing 1 was a piece of graphic poetry. The artwork was typically Wrightson, fantastic. The script was the same, except didn't Swamp Thing have a different origin? As I recall, Swamp Thing got started in House of Secrets, but I must admit this new story served quite well as an origin." Then she comments on the changes, but that's just a great example of yes, they retooled his origin, which they cop to here, where they're like, well, that wasn't meant to be an ongoing story. But I love that even then, people were writing in being like, excuse me,
yeah.
you just published this other thing.
Excuse me.
Gail Burt has paid attention.
Love
And
you, Gail Burt.
I say this because after watching the Wednesday Club for a while, I realized that the books I started reading comic books with are pretty abnormal. My first comic was Swamp Thing,
So cool.
and my second was Marvel Comics Godzilla. To say that reading those as my first two comics expanded my view on what comics could do and what I would enjoy is an understatement. The first comic I ever read was a borderline horror comic from 1980s DC, and the second was a mashup of 1970s Marvel Camp and 1970s Godzilla Camp. Practically opposite ends of the comic book spectrum, and yet both were great and enjoyable, albeit in different ways. Which just serves the fact that pretty much no matter what you start with, you can, and in my opinion should, try all sorts of different things. Who knows? You may find something you really like. And if you don't, oh well, you spend a little time to try something new. I'm not saying that everything is for everyone or that people should try comics they don't want to, just that it's possible, even likely, that you could be surprised by what you'll enjoy. I think trying things that may at first seem like they're out of your comfort zone, but you are interested in, is a good way of finding new things to enjoy and new ways of enjoying them. Thank you. Aleph, I think this is your username and not your person name, so we're cool reading the whole thing out, right?
Aleph Sharp, yeah.
Aleph Sharp on Twitch and Alpha. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for the
writing
letter.
in. P.S. I have a book recommendation, which may be out of some people's wheelhouses, but I'm fairly certain is in Talison's, in fact. Taliesin may have already read it. I know that the Wednesday Club is mostly about comics, but this is a really good book. It's called The Monster Maker and Other Science Fiction Classics.
I have not read it.
It's a collection of short sci-fi horror stories from classic authors, including Mary Shelley, Franz Kafka, H.P. Lovecraft, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, Edgar Allan Poe, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and Jack London.
Huh.
That's friggin' awesome.
All right.
That's a
Thank
great
you, Olive
recommendation.
Sharp.
Solid recommendation.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of reading outside your comfort zone.
And
Yeah.
it's great advice, and congrats, I guess, on being our first official,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Yeah.
get into the Daily Wednesday.
Yeah.
My God.
Take turns?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can take turns. Do you want this next one?
Up to you.
I'll take it.
You take it.
Oh, this comes with. Oh, this letter was actually sent to us. This is an actual physical letter.
Mail.
Like mail. This is actually mail sent to us.
Neat.
Dear Daily Wednesday, since you now have a letters page, I felt I should write you an actual paper letter.
Oh, I'm freaking out.
This has nothing to do with the fact that I am an old man and have neither a Twitter, Instagram, nor Discord account. Perhaps not unintentionally, your calling your producer Chief put me in mind of the Doom Patrol. This led to the usual mapping of personas, but has now evolved into costume design and even fanfic.
We are planning on chopping Chief's head off and putting it in a bucket of ice, so
Yeah.
that's going to work out well. He's not listening. Good.
No, he's not. Chief, do we have this picture of these Lego figures? No. We
But
don't?
we do have a close-up cam.
We have a close-up cam. All right. So he also writes, please excuse the print quality, obviously the work of your enemy, general interference. Are you off the internet yet? So here's the picture that
Oh my God.
he sent.
Oh my gosh.
That is Elastomat, Positive Woman, and Negative Boy.
Wow.
So here we go. I had been stuck on trying to map 3 for 3 until I realized that the analog for a human trapped in a robotic body form was actually the chat.
Oh my God.
Elastomat has the ability to go into any lengths, to bend a conversation into any shape, to make everything tie back to Doctor Strange. Elastomat's costume is a riff on the original Doom Patrol jumpsuits, shifted into Geek and Sundry's colors. In a comic book world, I see GNS providing jumpsuits to all its employees, like S.H.I.E.L.D. or SMERSH.
We've been working on it.
I guess that makes Ms. Day either Nick Fury or Bloft, whichever makes her happiest. Elastomat's hair is actually from a Lego vampire, but it is the same mold they are using for Doctor Strange. So he shows off how much I can stretch. And then it says, Lego Squirrel Girl says, stop touching your hair, Elastomat. So yes, even my lovely wife is canon. Elastomat's obsessive hair touching is the only thing that Squirrel Girl has been unable to beat.
Wow.
Moving on to Positive Woman, are you ready?
Am I?
Positive Woman is, well, just so gosh darn positive. All the time, about everything. You can't tell from the photo, but she positively and literally glows in the dark. Positive Woman's costume is Doom Patrol in the color scheme of the new table. Oh, there we go.
Oh, very nice.
In retrospect, it is also Minto's color scheme, which is why she doesn't wear boots. Behold the power of positive thinking. Her hair is inspired by Ms. Dallen, but also evokes Halo of the Outsiders. I'll show this in a second. Positive Woman's arch nemesis is also her twin sister. She too only says positive things, but in an obnoxiously ironic fashion. She is Sarkaz-Amy.
Oh no.
Sarkaz-Amy is a new and totally unique character and is definitely not Marvel's Necra trying to scam GNS out of a second paycheck. There we go. There's that.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And then finally, we've got Negative Boy is just so dark, he actually absorbs light. Ironically, he is the most sentimental and caring member of the team and loves puppies and rainbows. He also designed his own line of clothing because he does not like the way he looks in the black costume. Nega fact. I love that. The black stripes on Negative Boy's shirt sleeves are actually cutouts, just like Obsidian of Affinity ink. And then he has an action shot of Negative Boy using his powers. And that's what it looks like when he uses his powers.
No light at all.
There's no light.
anywhere.
Wow,
It's all gone.
An Infinity
None more
Incorporated,
gone.
an Infinity Incorporated reference. I'm very impressed.
And he says, see you all next Wednesday, sincerely, David.
Thank
Can
you,
we say
David.
the last name?
I think we decided to go first names
first
only.
name
First
only.
name. Well, thank you, David
Wow.
of Arizona. Arizona.
States are fine,
Yeah.
sure.
David of Arizona. There's a lot of Davids.
Arizona. I love that None More Goth tribute to you arrived the day your pull quote is on the Wiki. That's
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm quite pleased. I would have gothed harder today, but it I blew all
You
my
don't
points.
have to now. You
no,
just can
now I
show
can
the
just,
book to
now
people.
I can just show the book to people and be like, this is how goth. Shut up. Shut up.
Talk to me when
So,
you've read it.
Here you go. This is yours, good sir.
All right, this is from Alex. Let's see. Dear the Daily Wednesday, my problem is with the Wednesday Club. I have been a Wednesdaysy since episode 1. I love the show and host, but came with only TV and film knowledge. I am now addicted. My iPad is too full of Comixology to download more. I feel that.
Yep.
My question: once you achieve step 1, become addicted to buying comics and acquire too many to fit on a tablet. How do I get to step 2? Have the free time to read them.
Yep.
Oh no!
Please hurry. There's another sale on. Yours, Gamer Badger 82. Wow.
Unsolved problem, Gamer Badger. I'm so sorry.
Gamer Badger, I'm going to welcome you to the Wednesday Club and say that that's the problem that we all have.
Yes.
Welcome. Join our problems.
That's why we had the holidays and we called it our catch-up episode, because there's too much to read and we're like, we have 2 weeks where we don't need to read anything specific, so we'll just catch up on whatever we can that's been hanging out there.
I find it interesting that the full iPad is now the new version of this. The original problem was too many long boxes.
Yeah.
Still a problem.
Yeah,
Still a problem.
my friend Steve, who you met at Comic-Con,
The Las Vegas guy?
Yeah, Las Vegas guy.
He's great.
He used to have, like, I remember going to his house back when he lived in LA, and it was just, he would open his closet. It was one of those sliding glass closets, and it was just, there was just like no
boxes.
clothes. It was just boxes. It was just long boxes, as far as the eye could see.
I had a friend who actually built himself a new bed where he could fit 2 long boxes of heat, like stacked under the bed,
Whoa.
and like the entire underneath his bed was just.
There's only one layer of
So,
long boxes under my head.
this answers. So I'm crawling towards the answer to your first problem here. Is of course once you've filled up an iPad or a tablet, is it's now time to buy a second tablet until you fill your first long box.
with tablets.
Problem solved there. That's
But
step
where
1.
how do you get both the money for the second tablet and the time for comics?
I can't be bothered with such trivialities.
I'm rich.
Time and space to your will.
Here's the benefit. You can delete the comics off of your iPad and just re-download them. Like, I mean.
Yeah, like they're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. They still exist in your account. You can, like, I've re-downloaded comics so many times. Where
Sure.
It's like,
No,
I didn't have time to finish that one. I'll finish it later.
Bring it, forth and back.
Yeah.
I will say I have
Comics still exist.
3 points of the day at which I like to read comic books, and like the trick is to limit yourself to 1 at a time, which is I
Wait,
like
how?
if you have stuff to do, like well, let's just say you can have 1 with coffee and breakfast in the morning. You just
Okay.
read 1 comic book with breakfast. Of course, the bathroom is always a great place. We actually used to have like a rack of comic books for guests at the house, so that people like
that's awesome.
specifically curated comics in the bathroom that were just 1 with single issues, which was a big thing. And then if you can fall asleep reading, I'm a big fan of falling asleep to reading.
That's how I do. Like, I typically read like at least like 3 comics in the evening and start.
Yeah, you turn
going to
the
sleep,
dimmer
yeah.
all the way down and use that as your night light, and make sure it's not in a place where it's going to fall over, like somewhere loud.
Well, that's one of the things about Comixology, or like reading on a tablet, that's been so nice, is that you can
Read in the dark.
read in the dark without
I like
keeping your wife awake with a light.
I haven't
Actual
had
helpful
a
tips.
problem keeping your wife awake. Like, sorry, it was too easy.
Oh!
It was too easy. Ah! Yeah, no,
No water left.
that was really
That
good.
was amazing.
Thank you. That was
was a
really
good burn.
That was pretty solid.
You're feeling very sassy now that you have a quote on the back of a
Yeah.
Super
of a
sassy.
Wikdiv
I'm
book.
so happy. No, yeah, it's
Tell us a sassy.
no. We bring comic books to Burning Man like it's a problem.
Yeah.
Drink.
Yeah. Like I say with irony, but I also say with love and sincerity. Welcome to the Wednesday Club.
Yeah,
and
no,
the
I-
problem that we all three
I
have.
I brought a
Go away,
tablet full
very
of comic books and probably burned through like 25, 30 books at Burning Man.
Yep.
It's a problem. I read Doom Patrol at Burning Man.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what I read at Burning Man because then I'll have to pay $1.
Yeah. We were talking about that at Burning Man. We were going over, and we had Coy there too, so we were talking. I talked a little bit with Coy as well.
That was super
From
fun.
Marvel Movie News.
Aw.
My old Marvel show.
All right. Subject: The Daily Wednesday.
Oh.
I don't know in what order. Let's see. There's an image to be pulled up with this one, but I don't know. So this is. Oh! Sorry, I should have skipped to the end. This is from Miss Sunflower. Yay!
Filled with
Hello
water.
all. I'll admit my comics ignorance stretches into what to put in a letter to you guys, but I wanted to do it anyway. I think I'm starting to think your comics ignorance protests too much. You've been watching the show
Yeah.
for like a year.
Yeah. You know more than you know.
6 months of the show, and you know more than a lot of
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
I mostly want to thank you guys again for being so inclusive and creating a show and a space for virgin and comic fans like myself. Yeah. I've never
Goal
felt so
accomplished.
welcome. Oh, I'm so glad. Also, I know the show is going on nearly a year, and I went back through my notebook at my job out of nostalgia from back when the show was at noon. I would watch at work and take notes on what to read. I included a little collage of some of the lists I formed from watching this delightful show. Anyway, this is a rambling little letter of thank you. Again, can't be said enough.
Whoa!
Oh, that's so awesome.
Wonder Woman.
Year One.
Oh, look at the
Golden
sun!
Age.
Look at the daisy with the
Thanos
W in
Quest.
it.
Oh,
Jim
Jill
Starlin.
Thompson, yes.
Secret
Harrow
Wars,
County.
question mark, question mark, question mark. That's
22,
appropriate.
Yeah. Harrow County, yeah.
Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos
Secret Wars,
Quest,
Infinity Gauntlet,
Annihilation.
Marvel, Wolverine.
That actually looks
Spirit
like
Cell.
that actually looks like one of like the chronology chalkboards whenever they do
Yeah.
time travel
Yeah.
of like an Infinity Gauntlet question mark Annihilation.
Black. Oh.
Wow.
See you all Wednesday. Tangy, Miss Sunflower 94.
Oh, that's
Thank
the
you.
best. Speaking of, we saw the
Hi, Brittany.
Discord on there. Oh, is my lovely wife?
Yeah,
in the
she's
chat?
in the chat.
Hi, Brittany. I'll be home.
And Miss Sunflower. Hi, Miss Sunflower.
Sunflower.
Everybody's in the chat.
I jumped in the Discord last week and chatted with everyone for a while, and it's just super fun. I want to try and do it every day, but it's just like
No,
this place is like I get in and like it's so
No, it's
busy here.
well. It's also it's the new watchword of the year is radical self-care. Radical
yeah,
self-care.
Yeah, 2018,
gonna-
the year of radical self-care.
Yeah, I'm not going to start another please
well,
sleep
you never gotta
hashtag.
get it.
Yeah, no more please sleep hashtags. I'm done with that.
All right, let's see here. Oh, this is from Olivia, aka Meaning of Night.
Yay!
To our lovely hosts, Amy, Matt, and Tal. Hi, I am a Wednesdaisy, and articulating my thoughts without rambling or tangents is extremely difficult. Yep, we hear that. We
Yeah,
hear
we're
that.
there.
It's not like
We
you
just
guys.
ramble anyway.
Yeah, it's not like you guys have ever experienced this problem, right? Well, we just did. I wanted to write in to say thank you so much for making such a fun and educational show. You guys take the overwhelming world of comics and talk about it with such knowledge and passion that it makes it immediately more accessible. Something fun I thought you guys would like to know is that I discovered my college was running one section of a graphic novel class.
Ooh.
In the class, we'll be analyzing graphic novels and the medium, and then writing and drawing a short one at the end.
Yes!
I'm so jealous of this class. I want to do this class with you, Olivia. The class runs on Wednesday mornings, which I found very appropriate, so I'll be starting and ending my day in this wonderful world you've exposed me to. Thanks and much love, Olivia, Meaning of Night. P.S. Matt, you need to finish Sandman. It's blowing my mind right now. You're absolutely correct. I do. I do need to finish that very badly. That's awesome.
Has your shirt said Excelsior this whole time?
Yeah, I wore it on purpose.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Excelsior, for those of you who don't know,
Thank you.
was popularized by Stan Lee. It's one of his favorite things. Also, Nuff Said was another one.
Which you heard in one of the letters earlier.
And I believe the Marvelites, he would say.
Mary Marvelites. He
Mary
was famous for
Marvelites, yeah.
Stan's soapbox.
Yeah.
I basically invented putting the carnival barker on the comic book page, and the rest was history.
Yeah. But yeah, Excelsior, he'd be like, Excelsior, young readers. Yeah.
True believers.
True believers.
True believers.
So,
Yeah.
Taliesin, you are.
All right, I'll take
you're
one.
This appears to be the last one.
Ooh. Ooh. There's a bag in the box.
Yeah.
To the wonderful hosts of the Wednesday Club, the magnificent Matt Key, the terrific Taliesin Jaffe, and the amazing Amy Dallen.
Oh.
Greetings from Norway.
Oh!
All right.
Scandinavia.
I have a poem, a question, and a recommendation, but first there are three things that need to be said. Wow. First of all, thank you so much for this show. As an employee at a comic and books and board games and RPGs and geeky stuff in general store, I can't thank you enough for all the amazing comics you guys have recommended and the knowledge and love of comics you have imparted to me. Thank you guys. Thanks to you guys, I've discovered and read dozens of new comics I otherwise wouldn't have, which have helped me be better at my job and hopefully, in turn, introduced lots of new readers to great comics they otherwise wouldn't have had discovered. Secondly, did I mention all your expansive knowledge? Yes, maybe a little. I've learned so much. We don't have that strong of a tradition with comics in Norway. I work at one of the few stores in the entire country that actually sells a wide array of comics. So I learn lots of new stuff from you every week. Thanks for all the comic history you've taught me.
Nice.
The third topic, your enthusiasm, compassion, and the community around the show. I wholeheartedly believe that you guys, along with the community that has grown around the show, genuinely have made me a better, more understanding person. Oh, all the new people I've gotten to know, the diverse and wonderful group of incredible people from all over the world, the friends I've made amongst them. Before I joined the GNS Discord servers, first with TBD RPG, yeah, and second with the Wednesday Club, I have never been a part of a fandom community, and now the community, the amazing people at the Wednesday Club server and others, are a huge part of what makes my days great or less miserable when life is hard. I feel that. I even ended up suggesting the name for the fans of this show in one of the many silly and wonderful talks on the Discord. I still think it's weird that I did, but fun. I hope you all enjoy having a bouquet of adoring Wednesdaisies instead of all those electric fans. I feel you. I suppose I should give you a recommendation as well. Why not? Recommendation. Not sure if you've already mentioned this on the show, but I really like to recommend American Vampire.
Nice.
Written by Scott Snyder and drawn by
That is a
Raphael
great book.
Albuquerque. Yeah, it's a great horror story. It is. With an interesting take on vampires, it does. With a new type of vampire appearing in America, and the story takes place over decades, moving through the history of America from the late 19th century all the way to the 1960s so far. Also, one of the two stories features in the first volume is authored by Stephen King, his first delving into writing comics, if understood correctly, which I find quite awesome. I've personally only read the first volume, but I really loved it, and two of my wonderful coworkers at the store who've read the entire run can't praise it enough. American Vampire is a great book.
It is a great book.
Yes.
And it's so funny. I've always enjoyed it as like, oh, here's how vampires might be different in a different soil, literally. But I never thought about actually someone from Europe reading it and being like, yes, those are our vampires. These are yours. That's cool.
That is really cool.
Okay, continue.
Now a question. Which three books, collected volumes preferably, would you recommend to one who has read next to nothing of DC Comics and wants to get into it without drowning in this new universe? Collected volumes. Three collected volumes of DC.
Three trades for a new DC fan, right?
Ooh.
So like with different stories or like
three trades.
Volume 1, 2, and 3
Three
for
trades.
You could
Wonder
spend
Woman.
all three on one, I guess, but it's I think he's giving you free range. He or she.
Some of my favorite Batman was the New 52 Batman with like the Court of Owls and all that stuff. I thought that was a great run.
Awesome.
I'm going to say, just because it's a nice introduction to the universe, Morrison's Justice League, Grant Morrison's Justice League gives you a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of Superman,
like
a
it's
little bit
Electric
of Batman.
Superman though, right?
Not
Blue
always.
Superman, but Volume 1 is.
Maybe Volume 2 is Electric Superman. Volume 1 is not. Volume 1 is not because it's the White Martians.
That's right.
Volume 2 is because it's the Injustice Gang led by Lex Luthor.
So that'll give you a little bit of modern history. That'll give you a great beginning with Batman, and then I think I'll round it out with Wonder Woman Year One.
Oh, yeah.
The second volume of the most recent Greg Rucka, note, extremely biased, written series, but which I've been very excited because I have now been testing it on people where I was like, does this retelling of the origin work if you don't have a grounding with the character? And at least according to our own Sam DeLev, it works.
Nice.
I'm going to say also, like, and this is something that's been kind of, I don't want to say frustrating me with DC, but no, it's been frustrating me, I'll say, is that knowing that Bendis is going to be stepping into this, barring health issues at the moment, into this new place in DC editorial, I'm so excited to see what he's going to do that I'm kind of, I feel like he's going to be probably bringing a lot of jumping on points into the universe. I think he's going to be very good for that because he's also jumping into the universe. So I think that soon there's going to be a lot of really clear, solid places to start hopping into the DC universe where you're not going to need to know a lot because somebody who doesn't know a lot is going to be taking the helm and starting to shift the gears.
And we are at the point right now where we're only a year and a half into Rebirth, or
so
whatever
it's
it is.
relatively easy to catch up.
While they have a lot of them have been coming out twice a month, so you've got 3 or 4 volumes by now. That does mean that there is a beginning point that is relatively recent for basically any character that you're interested in. I just remembered a really random letters column thing. It's apocryphal, so we should, well, now I feel bad, but according to portions of the internet, there was at one time trouble with the clever names that people love to give their letters columns. I was just thinking of DC titles, and apparently Suicide Squad had some trouble in the 80s and 90s.
No.
Because their mail was very difficult to deliver.
No.
So yeah, get clever with your letter names, but think through that someone, like a mail person, has to read that and then decide to deliver it without having a panic. More funny puns,
So,
less books with suicide in the title.
We have a poem. Should I read it, or do we want to pass it around? There's a poem.
I mean, you're the voice actor.
All right, fine.
I mean, the most I can do is read it in my 1920s news voice.
All right, there's here's a poem called "The Best Day of Them All." I will try not to mash it into bits. Once upon a time, there was a day, the best day of them all, I dare to say, a day that had this oh so splendid show with comics and enthusiastic glow. The hosts they were a thrilling trio true. Why truly tasteful treasures they showed you. Cool comics new and old to read and share, and bantered weird and wonderful to hear. First, Taliesin, the guy of goth and tales, his stories mostly strange and off the rails.
Not wrong.
Yet 50 stories later, be advised, you'll never ever fail to be surprised.
Oh, that's such a
Next
good
up, we have The
line.
Girl We All Adore. A show with Amy is not a bore. Her knowledge, comic-wise, is rad and real, and when she smiles and squeals, pure joy you'll feel. True.
Also true.
The true key to the show we can't forget, the tallest, sweetest on the internet. The mat and the key, the crush we cannot claim. A Doctor Strange and Britney's to blame. The Club of Wednesday time this show is called. The ones who watch it all become enthralled. I love it oh so much, like really crazy. I'm proud to call myself a Wednesdaysy.
Oh
my God.
That's amazing.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I want to get it framed and put up in our office. That is amazing.
I'm freaking out a little bit.
Did we say our friend's name?
I was having difficulty pronouncing it, and I didn't want to.
Username's on
Yeah.
This is from Erland
Ireland, aka Typeair.
on the Discord and at Erland Tyson's on Twitter. Tysness.
Tusen tak,
It's
Ireland.
Norway. I'm doing our best. And
that's
we should get to the bag. I've been told should get to the bags.
I didn't even know we had that. What is?
There are bags.
There's gift bags. From who?
Apparently.
From who?
I don't know that
Well,
part,
I know a little bit about this.
There's a card in
Which one
the big
first?
bag. The big bag.
The big bag.
The big bag.
The big bag.
The big bag.
One is taller and one's wider, so you say big bag and I freeze up.
I was hoping that was going to rhyme.
The wide one. There's a card in there.
Hello,
oh,
contents of
good.
this bag.
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
I
I don't think this is for us.
GNS and Alpha
Well,
Crew.
I'm not
Oh.
sure. I'm depending on your definition of the word crew.
It's all inclusive.
Yay, we're in crew.
Yay! We're crew.
Holy crap.
What's it say?
Starts with a list of contributors to the crew of Geek and Sundry and Alpha. Hope this helps you stay turned during Critical Role. Love the Wednesday Club Discord.
Oh.
Please enjoy the scotch
Oh my God.
and
Let's go ahead and give that over here.
the chocolates are scotch infused.
Oh my God.
Oh, they smell amazing.
Oh my God, look at those chocolates.
So many chicks on it. I swear to God, I have not eaten any of them.
There's 3 already missing.
Santa, Mrs. Claus, and Rudolph have already taken their.
Somebody stole it.
Oh.
All right, contributors.
Oh.
Are we cool reading out the names of the contributors? Oh, first names or whole names? Okay, contributors: Paul, Alice, Elizabeth, Justine, Scott, Heather, Lara, Sarah. Scott's Choice by Dana. Clever card message, Lady Amphi.
Nice. Wow, you guys are the best fans. We have the
That's not for you guys.
fans.
Sachs, take it from them.
We have the best. We have the best fans. It's
Oh, man.
amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm really excited. Please give gifts to the crew.
Yeah,
Please
the crew
write
deserves
some
it.
questions.
Just for DeNovo.
And bonus,
The crew definitely
I
deserves
wish it were possible to ever surprise him, but
He's the one that got it.
This is so cute.
have you read this? Good. Are you comfortable with me reading it? To help you get through those long Thursday nights where the chat gets dark and full of terrors, says Amphi. And then the Wednesdays these year we see Discord say to
Oh,
our
dear.
own Denoba, we know you work insanely hard to keep chat happy and positive place, in addition to being
Wow.
a liaison between chat and those on the show. Chat, while often representative of a great community, can also take its toll. A bunch of us chipped in to get you a much-deserved treat. We hope you enjoy it and that it came from the best... Hold on. We hope you enjoy it and that it came from the best... What does that say?
The best barrel of the batch.
Oh, this is an alcohol thing.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
hope that it's good, right? That's...
I think so.
Got it.
Yes.
Yes.
And that it came from the best barrel of the batch.
We hope... yes, okay. And... chocolate!
Oh, that chocolate
Oh.
is good. I love those milk chocolates.
P.S. I also put in some chocolates in case you wanted to save the scotch so you have something to help with Thursday's chat.
Oh my gosh.
How
Very
Scotch and
generous.
whiskey gets its flavor is by the different kind of barrel that you use to age it in, and like whatever that barrel was used for beforehand is what gives it its flavor.
Oh, cool.
So you can see it'll actually say on it what kind of barrel they used. It'll actually say at the bottom. That's finished. It's the second barrel that goes in. The first one, no, I mean like, see that white band? It says Bourbon Heritage.
Yes,
what
Bourbon
kind?
Heritage barrels. 14 years in bourbon barrels.
Bourbon barrels,
Adds sweet notes of creamy toffee and ripe summer fruit.
and then finished in.
American New Oak.
Okay.
Finishing in new oak barrels imparts extra notes of vanilla, caramel, and hints of fresh oak.
Well,
Thank
Some
you
people-
for
yeah.
everything you do.
Glenfiddich is a perfect choice.
I took some distillery tours when I was in
That's
Ireland. It was nice.
Not surprising.
We are putting this away because this is...
That does not belong to us. That goes
That
to
does
the
not
crew,
belong to us.
to Devin, and that is well deserved.
Also, everything else has mysteriously disappeared.
Good work, crew.
It was in the middle of the table. I can't reach that.
Damn you, interdimensional Gina! Damn you! That's why it's just Pocket Gina. It's Pocket Dimension Gina.
Oh wow.
That's why she's called Pocket Gina.
It
Comes from a
just
pocket
goes
dimension.
Deeper. Wow.
So what's this now? Is this more things?
Yes, there is also a letter in there.
Yes!
That's Selena,
Thank you, Selena.
by the way. Also from the crew. She's allowed to have the chocolates. Oh, is this? Oh,
I don't know. I
this
got
is
to do
heavy.
the last one. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, so this
Do you
is...
know what this is?
I know a little bit about this.
This is
May have been by my desk when I got it.
Uncivilized
Prepare.
Books. Hello, Wednesday Club. My name is Jordan Shively, and I am the. Can I read? I just. Okay. And I am the associate publisher at Uncivilized Books. We are a multiple Eisner-nominated independent comics publisher working out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I really enjoy your show. Oh, hi, that's all. Hi.
Thanks!
And thought you might be interested in seeing some of the comics we have been publishing. Thanks for your time, Jordan Shively. Oh, this is
Yay!
this is
So-
super exciting.
So, people may know
Oh.
Jordan from the internet.
Oh my God! Oh, I feel like I'm in school. This is the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm so
Brighter
excited.
than you think. Critical cartoons. Right here. You want it here? There.
What? 10 short works by Alan Moore.
Yep.
What?
It's right under the title you read.
Well, I was like just looking at the art and just thinking like I feel like I'm in school, and I mean that is the best thing ever. Like I feel
This is
like
amazing.
you know when they give you your textbooks, they're like here are your textbooks, now go to class. I
Oh,
always love-
what a lineup.
There's 3 apiece in
Yes.
here, so
Yep.
we each get one. Oh man.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm very excited.
Over the Wall by Peter Wartman.
This looks
One of the 10 best comics and graphic novels of the year, according to the Onion AV Club. They are
this is
they are
beautiful.
reputable. Oh my God, this is Oh man, Jordan, you and I are gonna have to talk. I've got some comic ideas, sir.
You guys in Diamond?
Here's that one. I think that might be.
So Jordan, I also believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, runs one of my favorite Twitters,
Really?
if I recall, which is Sex from the Void, I believe. Is
Really?
I actually own a couple of his shirts. If it's the person I'm thinking, please yeah, I believe.
If they're in chat, hopefully Jordan is in chat. And can
Or
say.
hottest single, Dread Singles. I'm so sorry, not Sex from the Void, Dread Singles.
Oh, I
suck.
Yeah,
wow.
I love Dread Singles.
I have a
What
weird.
is Dread Singles?
Okay, once this is all over, we are going down a deep dark hole.
Well,
I feel
before we
so
do
bad 'cause
that,
I own
one
the t-shirt.
last time,
Oh.
because we've only got a few minutes left, and we still have to do our 1 minute top or 5 minute topic.
Oh no!
EO Mansions by Derek Van Giesen.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Like the little picture in the top
Yeah.
corner.
This is beautiful.
Oh my God.
And again, Onion IV Club says, EO Mansions feels as though it's being glimpsed through dark glasses, both literally and figuratively. From a graphic standpoint, Van Giesen lays on the ink with a jackhammer. Thematically, he's dredging some infernal pits of the collective psyche for images, characters, and surreal situations that add to a nightmarish skull fuck of a book.
You just a big pause to emphasize this?
you-
Like,
did
No, I was curious if I could say it, and then I was like, we're an adult show, we can say it.
It's also
That's
technically
like
it's a skull.
when you watch an old movie and they
skull
bleep
bleep.
out the god, but they leave the damn, and it just
Yeah.
sounds weird.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of that.
Yeah.
I guess. All right, we do have to do our topic. Do we have our chosen topic?
We do
we've
have a
got like
chosen
5
topic.
minutes
I haven't
left.
looked.
Oh no,
Oh,
the
we
timer,
just-
go!
Go,
There's
go! They
5 minutes
started.
Where's the topic? I can't find it. Hold
No,
on.
you can do it. We're 10 seconds down.
Hey everybody, this is the Wednesday Club. We're doing our one
where's the
shot.
topic at?
You can watch us on Geek and Sundry's Twitch, also on Project Alpha.
Yeah.
My name is Matt Key. This
What's
is
at the
Nicky
bottom?
Dallen.
Why did
This
you do
is
that?
Taliesin Jaffe.
Okay.
We're still looking for the topic, and he's reading it now.
Undercover Goth says a superhero and supervillain writes to the letter column for a comic you write. Who writes in and what is the letter about?
Oh my God.
What comic?
Wow!
Kamala writes in. Kamala writes
Oh,
in
Kamala
to the
definitely
letters
writes in.
page. Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel,
Yeah, no.
has had several letters published in the backup columns of probably like the mainline Avengers titles, but also like a weird offbeat youth kind of one. She, oh God, and Persephone does too. She's not a villain, but who's let's see. Somebody else chip in, but I'm gonna look for a villain who's also written into a letters column.
Does it need to be a Marvel one?
No, it can be any. It can be
okay.
any villain.
The first thing that came to my mind was Hank McCoy, the Beast, writes into to my comic book to complain that because I'm a very whenever I try to write something, it's always more complex than it needs to be, just because I really enjoyed those story mechanics. So he's writing in to tell me where all my story mechanics and complexity have fallen apart and where my continuity is starting to fail and crumble. And maybe some sort of narrative watchouts for me, but I don't have a villain. I'm in the same camp. So do your hero.
I can only think of one villain off the top of my head that would really write into a letter column that I can think of is the Chainsaw Vigilante from The Tick. The Chainsaw Vigilante from The Tick is in my opinion the epitome of the letter writing complainer. Since his whole thing is that he walks around giving really tiny cuts to superheroes to prove to them that they really don't want to be a superhero. He just has a chainsaw and nicks them with it, and then they cry, and then they stop being superheroes. I believe his rallying cry for a while was pathetic victims of Arrested Development, prepare to hear the voice of reason. So yeah.
I have a villain.
Okay.
The Riddler.
Ooh, Eddie! You're gonna bring Eddie Nigma.
He's writing into my comic, but he's not writing in villainously. He's writing in very lovingly, praising it. He really loves everything that I'm writing, and no one takes notice that he's actually leaving clues for his next crime in every single letter that he writes.
Totally.
But I love everything that he writes so much that I have to include it every single time. He's like Tia Maple.
Yep. So speaking of writing under pseudonym, I have another hero who would write in villainously. Quentin Quire.
Oh yeah.
He would never admit that was him, but he would write into every issue to tell you how much it sucked and how you were doing everything wrong.
He would publish a zine.
Oh, he would totally has his own zine.
He would publish a zine.
like Telepaths Monthly or something like that. Like he's got his own zine.
Oh, what would be a good choir name for like
Mind
an
Reader.
No, what would
Burn
be
it
like?
all down.
Burn It All Down. Yeah.
Yeah, Omega Now.
Mind Reaver. Mind Reaper.
Oh, yeah, no, Mind Reaver. No, yeah.
Mind Scythe.
Send more Sentinels.
Oh.
All right. You did a villain.
Yeah.
You still need a hero.
I like the idea. Like, there's part of me that believes that Captain America still sends letters to the editor, so he would be like actually on a typewriter. That with
I see that.
very, very just specifically just with his thoughts and opinions and like very, very, very clearly going through. And I've been a fan of this publication for over 60 years, minus a small break in the middle.
Yeah.
Let me just start by saying that I'm
Whole other story. Not going to get into it.
Yeah. That you know the story is consistently well told, family friendly, good for all ages. I was particularly impressed by the pun on page 15. That was And again, thank you for your time. Keep up the good work and make mine marvel. I think he would be
make mine marvel.
just very 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 positive and right there in there with the praise.
What would he say if you wrote into an Alan Moore comic?
I don't think.
Oh boy, Mr. Moore, where to start?
I think he would just send him a bar of soap.
Appropriate for.
I just read Providence, and I do not agree, sir. I do not agree.
He did famously wash the captain, the superhero, the captain's mouth out with soap. Like he actually like.
All right, we're all answering.
I think we actually did that.
I think we actually did it with time
I cheated
handicap.
because one of my villains is a hero, but whatever.
Whatever.
It hardly matters.
All right, this
has been the Wednesday Club.
That's our 5-minute
We
topic.
did it.
Thank you so much to Undercover Goth for that question.
Thank
you
you.
can catch us every Wednesday on twitch.tv/Geek and and Project Alpha. I'm Amy Dallen.
I'm Matt Key.
And I'm Taliesin Jaffe.
You are.
That was a good one.
That was really good.
That was a super fun one.
I was highly entertained by that.
All right, we've got to start wrapping it up. We're getting the wrap-up finger from Liz and from Chief.
So many wrap-ups.
They just want their scotch, I think.
God, that is like Scotch flavored chocolate. I didn't expect it, and it was very alarming.
It says it on the box and in the letter.
I forgot. And I was
Yeah.
eating chocolate.
You've had
Producer
3
Liz
warnings.
Definitely watches this show.
I didn't.
Thank you, Chief. We're glad it's delicious. You've earned it.
Thank you all for this mail and
Thank
for
you, Jordan, for these books. We're gonna go read these.
and I'm.
Thank you. Where can they send messages to the Daily Wednesday?
That is the Wednesday Club at geekandsundry.com.
Yeah.
Did I do it correctly this week?
Wow! Holy cow!
It's almost like I have access to it and read through it.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's weird.
I have to get it reset up again.
Yep,
It's
we'll
your
get there. It's a process.
Thank you for a wonderful life to Ken Wynn.
Ken Wynn.
Thank you, Ken Wynn,
Batman
for a
writing-
wonderful chalkboard.
writing to his parents.
And stay tuned right now if you are so inclined for Minds and Crafts.
Minds and Crafts!
Dramatic January, I'm going to call it victory lap return for the next
Nice.
few weeks of Late Night Minds and Crafts with me and Steph and Gina and
Super cool.
Nonsense.
Pocket Gina. She's been here all along.
She has.
The whole time. We just can't see her.
I'm so stunned by that no prize. I'm so excited.
It's the
No.
best. Yeah, that's
What are we
that's
doing next
now
week?
that Wednesday Club canon. I don't remember what
I don't remember what we're doing next
Is anything special happening tomorrow?
Oh yeah. Well, tomorrow I'm supposed to do something. I don't remember
New
what.
campaign?
You have some kind of
campaign?
plans?
Yeah, something.
All right. New campaign on Critical
New
Role
campaign on
tomorrow.
Critical Role tomorrow.
We'll
That's
see you
happening.
next week. Goodbye.